are playing in 2009. The question is, are you willing to waste money while you're making money right now, being right, on 2021? That is what has kept me consistent. I had an email newsletter in 1996 that had 91% open rates. I didn't want social media. Like, if I was making content back in the day, you would have seen me sad as fuck about social media. I didn't want to learn Twitter. I didn't want to learn Tumblr. I didn't want to. Like, I had email and, SEM and SEO figured out. I was good. It was probably the laziest part of my career because it just worked. But I recognized that the thing that got me here is never the thing that's gonna take me to the next place. And I think we rest on our laurels when we've figured shit out. And so I'm spending an ungodly amount of time on everything that isn't the math. It's incredible that we now live in a world where the people that are building great companies in this and they do great and they make a lot of money, they deserve it because they take things that we don't have to worry about out of the equation. And the fact of the matter is math will always be that one. The quant part of our worlds is always the thing that's gonna be scalable and then commoditizable. The things that aren't are the art, the creativity, and most importantly, the intuition and then the audacity to leave money on the table every single day of your life to invest in the world that you think is gonna be there in 24 months, and then you have to be right, otherwise you lose. And so to me, it's very clear. It's a little bit of a left field conversation and it has nothing to do with me being there yesterday. You need to get very serious about sound. Because let me tell you something about why what they make is successful. We care about only a couple things as people. Money, health, religion. There's not a lot of things we really, really give a fuck about, but one of the things that we care about and always have, but now we're at an all-time high, is time. Uber became a huge company by selling time, not transportation. Time is imperative. We don't like friction. We don't like friction on our landing pages, and we don't like friction in our lives. And everybody, even when they don't have a lot of money, spend a lot of money on convenience. Convenience is king, time matters. And I'm gonna tell you right now, and you'll think back to this talk one way or the other. You're gonna think back to this talk because this was the talk that made you get very serious about investing into audio, or you'll think back to it when other people are making real money, real opportunities, changing the world, whatever they want to do with the attention, and you'll think about you wish you started earlier. And I lived this whole life with social, right? And it's fun for me because it's just black and white and obvious. So we're gonna all be invested and winning on time, on audio, because it saves us time. Audio saves you time. Every single person in this room, when brushing their teeth in 40 years, will be listening to some sort of voice telling them what they're doing that day, what the weather is, where they're going, what's happening. It's just gonna be that. And if you're smart, you can penetrate somebody's first 7 minutes every single day of their lives and talk about whatever the hell you want them to know about. And so I would give that a ton of thought. Obviously between you and me, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. It's not even close to too late to start a podcast. Podcasts are imperatively important because people, the way we roll now is we can listen and do something else. It's hard to watch one of my videos and do something else. It's super easy to listen to what I'm talking about and do something else. Anything that aligns you with the end consumer's time is an imperatively big advantage for you. And listen, there's a lot of people that are comedians and actors and actresses and things of that nature. You gotta figure out how you mold into these new platforms. You gotta figure it out, but it's coming. And so to me, the big things to really think about is pairing art and science together, and then really recognizing the consumer behavior, because we're in the later innings of social. Like, we're in mature platforms, which means really good things for Facebook stock, but doesn't mean as much for a lot of us. I mean, I'm looking at somebody in the crowd right now and I'm like smiling the whole time because we sat in an old Vayner office and I was like, guys, this Vine thing, I'm telling you, and I got them all together, all of them. And I was like, I'm telling you, it's like, I remember telling them, you're all gonna be famous in a year. And I remember looking at them and some maybe, it was just so obvious. It wasn't obvious to me because I saw Twitter before that and YouTube before that. And it's the same, guys, it's the same shit. It's the same shit over and over. There's underpriced attention and there's overpriced attention. There's headline readers and there's practitioners. Let me give you an example of headline reading versus practitioners. Headline readers, Snapchat's dead. Practitioners, holy fuck, Snapchat's ad product is so underpriced because everybody thinks it's dead that it's $2.80 CPM to get in front of everybody who's under 30 in the world, and at least in the US world and a couple other countries. And holy shit, the swipe up conversions of these people, since they live in that world, are so fucking incredible. There's no platform on earth, not YouTube and Facebook combined, that can get somebody under 30 to watch a 3-minute video continuously, even remotely close to Snapchat, and it's $2.80 a CPM. Practitioners versus headline readers. And this is a pretty fucking legit audience, and I know a lot of you, and I watch a lot of everything, and there's just a lot of people who headline read. There's a whole lot of people who have a whole lot of opinions about a whole lot of shit in here, and they've never done that thing. Thank you, Mom. So that's it, man. Like, honestly, it's just gonna be the same shit. I'm gonna sit here fucking at 74 years old, and I'm gonna be like, you know, VR fuck faces, like how do, it's just the same shit. Like, I really feel like I'm done. Like, I'd love to go into Q&A. I don't know what the runners are. Like, I'll tell you anything you want to know. Like, LinkedIn's super interesting to me right now, just because they're really desperate to become the B2B Facebook, so they're seducing the algorithms to try to vig the outcomes. Always pay attention to who's desperate. Always pay attention to who's desperate, right? That's always where the opportunity, me. I'm impossible, I'm expensive, I have a book coming out, I whore myself out. That's when you get me, right? Like, that's how you get me. It's just not super complicated. Yeah, it's how you got me. Like, it's easy. It's easy. Snapchat, not so much momentum, pay attention. Always, always, always look to the other direction of the conventional wisdom, because that's always where the fucking magic is. Understand that if you're the best math-oriented person in this room, that you're vulnerable to the art. If you're just a creative, bad news, math matters, find somebody, right? That's what this is. And it's been this for the last 20 years, and it's gonna keep going. But I will say the big white space for the collective is sound. What is your podcast? What is your Alexa briefing? Like, what do you say to everybody for the first 30 seconds in the world? And how do you use your enormous attention on Instagram to get 100,000 people to download it? And then it's early, so Amazon's like, who the fuck is this person? And they fly you out. Now you're starting in the commercial. It's the same patterns, my friends. It's the same patterns. And then ultimately, overlaying everything I'm talking about, does your mouth match your ambition? There's a whole lot of billionaires in here out their mouth, but they go to every fucking concert on earth. And that's cool. Like, fuck, make 40,000. It's not about the money. It's about, do your actions match your ambitions? So that's the framework. And then the last thing you gotta figure out is what you want in your work-life balance and your legacy, and how much money you want and what you wanna do with that money. And a lot of people get caught in the rat race. At the most basic level, followers and likes, which is fucking ludicrous. At the next level, which is pretty fucking ludicrous too, money. Without realizing you wake up and you're 47, you're like, fuck, I didn't, So 2 frameworks, the things I've just talked about, very easy to understand. Second part, this last minute, a little harder. You gotta get real into self-awareness. But once you know what the fuck you're about, it's ironic and intriguing how the shit just starts happening. Not because you fucking thought it into reality, it's because you know what the fuck you're doing, and all your actions map to that reality. Cool. Thank you. How many mics do you have? 2, 3, great, awesome. Let's go. You guys are in control. I don't want to have feelings. JR?
What's up? Gary
How are you?
Vaynerchuk, thanks for being here.
Thanks, brother.
My name's JR with Digital Marketing Hacks, and my question is, I know you say that it's gonna end all with robots killing everybody.
I hope so.
But until then,
yes.
What role do you think AI, artificial
Huge.
Intelligence, and robots have
Huge.
and are going to have in the next 5 years in the marketing and digital marketing space?
Huge. Even in the 15 minutes that I've gotten a better taste of what these characters are up to, they're gonna love it. Like, the math people are gonna love it because machine learning and AI just do shit that we shouldn't be doing. Like, it's just efficiency. It's gonna have an enormous thing. Like, but the good news is, like, there's so much that we still can do. And so basically how I think about, ML and AI back at the pad is get me to fucking 3.5 base. and I'll take care of the rest. And whatever AI can do for that, cool. And whatever low-priced employees can do, cool. But like everybody is spending way too much money to get to third and a half base, and then the magic is the last part. So that's what AI is gonna mean for everybody here. There's a lot of dumb shit that people have assistants for or managers for that's nonsense. Zero value that the biggest AI companies in the world are gonna get their nut off on. Yeah, hey.
Hey, it's really exciting to be here in this room with you and everyone here. This is awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, experiences that help people save time
Yes.
are awesome. And I'm really interested in experiences that are time bending and help people just lose time. And I'm interested in creating the
Like
most
hardcore drugs or?
No. So here we go. The world's most connective music festival.
Okay.
All right, where festival goers are connecting with each other
Hardcore drugs.
and with the artists, and the artists with their fans.
Okay.
And so in 2021,
You're talking VR now?
I'm talking about
Mixed reality?
so 2021
Go ahead.
music festivals, connection, the best time of people's lives. What do you see happening in the context of music festivals that you're excited about and that you're excited about creating?
So, if I dissect that right, couple things. One thing I'm super fascinated by that I would have never seen, and by the way, I never spend any time predicting, like voice, I'm not predicting shit, it's happening, right? What I think I'm good at is like recognizing when it's practical and then going pot committed, right? Which means you'll lose money for a couple of years and then get it. You don't lose for 7 years and never get there. The thing that's been super fascinating to me that I would never thought, which is, fuck, social media is making people do more shit in real life. Like literally some dude is hiking right now just for the fucking Instagram photo. Right? So what's been amazing about music festivals is because everybody here now is not only themselves, but they're the PR agent of themselves for what they're putting out. People are going to more concerts than ever because of that whole dynamic. I think what you're alluding to is kind of like what's gonna happen in society, like in general, like mixed reality, things of that nature. It's gonna be funny. Technology is making music, going to music grow, and then it's gonna take it away. But I don't think it's as soon as 2021, but I think that right now, a lot of music festivals are failing because they all have the same bullshit acts, and it's just supply and demand. And so when you were first 4 or 5, 6 years ago, you win, and now there's 87 micro festivals, and big companies sign the same 13 artists and their shit, right? So I think there's a huge white space for the next generation of that, like the people that the streets fuck with, right? And then I think that ultimately it's gonna be really interesting in just in general what happens when we live in a mixed reality world. I think the big arbitrage, the only thing that's gonna break the internet is VR. But VR's quite a ways away. Like nobody here spends an hour on VR in a month in real life. So we're it takes time. Behavior takes time. But eventually when we're switching between completely virtual, like I don't even see you guys right now, my contact lenses have me in Afghanistan. Switch it off, I'm right here. Switch it off and it's AR and Santa Claus is sitting right there. Santa. That world, I think, is super interesting and is going to change all our businesses. Thanks, man. Cool. Yep. Hey, Sean.
Gary, you just came back from August, and you said, I'm bringing YouTube Fire, new shows are coming out.
Yep.
And you took the Ask Gary V show to Facebook only.
I did.
So what are your latest strategies and why for both YouTube and Facebook?
I think you have to make content that is native to the platform you put it out on. I've always thought about that. I fucking wrote a book called Jab, Jab, Hook 5 years ago on this. I wasn't doing that. So now that Ask Gary V show is on Facebook Watch and the Daily V is on YouTube, when D-Rock is wherever the fuck, D-Rock? Hey, now I could say, what's up, YouTube? Whereas I couldn't do that before, and those little nuances fucking matter. All the action is in those little edges. And so I broke them up mainly because of Facebook video. Now that there's Watch, I'm fascinated. Any of you watch a show yet on Facebook Watch? Just raise your hands, just curious. Higher. Right, so this intrigues me. Like, everybody here has to watch one. Not because, I don't watch shit. I watched one, the Ball family, because I just want to see what the fuck they're doing. To me, this is the most interesting thing that I'm doing that the good market isn't. you've got to taste everything. Like, if you want to win, and fuck, there's no way you're in fucking Boise, Idaho if you don't want to win right now. No, I mean that. Like when I think about who's here, I'm like, fuck, these people are hungry. So like to me, 19 hands, which means maybe 31 because people get shy, to 2 weeks into Facebook Watch that haven't watched, that's it. That's where I play. That's my margin. So that's why I did it, because I wanted to make them native. I have 2 active shows. I needed to do something on Facebook. And because I watched Facebook, actually, fuck it, I'll tell you. It's not fully announced yet, but we'll see how this goes. Because I watched Watch, and I watched it for 4 days in a row, looked, I understood what the fuck they were doing, so I sent them an email, I pitched them a show, and they bought it, right? So now I'll have kind of, anybody can put a show on Facebook, right? Like a page, a watch page, which everybody should be doing here. I'll have my YouTube, show, and now I'm gonna have a produced by Facebook show that's gonna get big even more.
Oh, then you just need your fucking seat can.
I do so much more than I talk, which is fucking crazy, because my mouth is always running, but I'm just doing. I'm doing, because I'm tasting. I never think I'm fancy. So many people in here, and I know you, like so many people here make it a little bit and get fancy. Stop doing the shit that got them there. That's the minute you're fucking dead. You got it.
So
Hey, Marshall.
I have a question.
Yeah.
There's a guy I follow online. You might have heard of him. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
And he told me to push all in on whatever it is that you're good at. So
Yes.
I'm making this big push as Marshall Live. I'm going to everything live, like straight to ask me questions. I love that aspect of your brand. So the question is, if everything's moving to voice, is live streaming podcast going to end up being bigger than, say, iTunes or a recording that you can come back to?
So first of all, you said something interesting that we all do. If everything's moving to voice, nothing is everything. Like, we will always have the written word. You could have do you know how much
Nothing is
there
everything.
through long
Literally is.
Facebook and Instagram posts? Like, if you sit in here and you can write long ass posts on Facebook and Instagram and watch what the fuck happens. We are humans. We've been around a long fucking time, bro. Marshall, written word, audio, video. Shit is locked in. Got it? So it's not like you're gonna lose it. Like, fuck, if you're great at smoke signals, get the fuck up there, communication doesn't change. The pillars of communication are set. Where we communicate changes, right? And then you have to be contextual, right? Some people are incredible at making a 6-second video. I keep looking at them because it's fun to see them. I haven't seen them in a while. Others aren't. Like, I can't put 2 fucking sentences together in my life. I have 5 New York Times bestselling books because I have a ghostwriter. Because I didn't try to become a great writer when the blogging thing happened, because I bet on my strengths. And so I do believe that everybody here should bet on their strengths and surround themselves with their weaknesses. I actually think back to earlier question, I think AI and machine learning is going to help a lot of us in here who are creative close the gap on a lot of our weaknesses, which is going to be really awesome. You got it. Yo. Yep.
So
Kevin.
It's Kevin, yeah. I think a lot of people in here, using ClickFunnels or not, have kind of come into a lot more money than maybe they've ever been used to making.
Okay.
And in one of your previous sentences, you said, yeah, you only care about money, and all of a sudden you're 47, but then you didn't finish your sentence. I was hoping to hear you elaborate on that.
Sure. I'm sure a lot of people here who, let's say, have come into money, it's not as great as advertised for a lot of people. Some people love it. They like watches and Lambos and houses, and that's fucking rad. Like, mazel tov. Other people don't, and you start questioning what the fuck, right? Because when you've got nothing and you're on the come up and you've got numbers in your head, whether it's $1 million or 5 or 3 or whatever the fuck it is, it's fucking empty when you get there for a lot of people. And so, I'm just trying to make sure people are being thoughtful. They're just, much like what I just said to Marshall, like, life is pretty simple. Like, people play on legacy, on family, on money. Like, there's just a couple pillars. I just think in our space right now, and I know a lot of you have heard me rant on this. I do think entrepreneurship has taken a turn towards club promotion, and that's just dangerous. It's just dangerous for the people that are I don't give a fuck. It's dangerous because people don't realize they need to build a business, not a perception that they're good at business. I don't know, Because nobody's, when the market crashes, nobody's going to Vegas with you when you work at Bank of fucking America. I'm just trying to get people to be more thoughtful. Sure. Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm super well.
Awesome. So, Russell and you were two of last year. I was selling websites. Was getting really frustrated that I wasn't helping people. Felt like they weren't growing their sales, but they had a really nice site. So you guys inspired me to start a podcast.
Awesome.
Didn't know exactly what for, but just
you're like, fuck it, those guys are doing it, I will too.
More along the lines of I was listening to a podcast in the gym. Host asked the other guy, "What would you tell your 20-year-old self?" And the guy answered, "I would divorce my wife earlier." I was super pissed off. I'm married with 2 young kids and wanted to have a podcast from a different perspective. And so a year later, thank God, 2 weeks ago, I got to publish my interview with Russell. I've had Dean Graziosi. And so my question is, number one is, how do you grow even further? And number two is, not just for me, but anybody starting or in progress, what should your priorities be?
So let's sit here. Both of those things I can't answer because you need to decide, first of all, you have to define growing for me. Is growing being a top 50 podcast? I mean, we all get into our micro games. And by the way, I think micro games are good. Little short goals, micro, it's kind of good. You scratch it, it's fun for a little bit. I think you got to have your macro point of view. If you're telling me the truth that you felt like the conversations were going in the wrong directions and you wanted to go a different place, well, the answer to your question is just do it every day until you're dead, right? That's my plan. My plan is, hopefully it gets me to this one little funny weird thing that I want to buy a football team. But other than that, my plan is to put out shit for free that is historically correct so that so I can continue to live the life I'm living, which is I made the money I wanted to make a long time ago. But getting 50, 60, 70 emails, 80 emails a day of people like, fuck, you helped me, that's just intoxicating. But that's what gets me off. And by the way, I'm not sure that I understand why that wouldn't be meaningful to somebody else. So you just have to do what you have to do for yourself, right? That's how you grow by consistency.
Awesome.
You grow you're a year in. You grow when you're 19 years into your podcast.
More specifically in terms of actual numbers and taking what you've done and now specifically on the number aspect of it, what do you recommend in terms of taking your platform and kind of skyrocketing numbers?
Buy underpriced attention. Whether that's buying ads on Facebook and Snapchat right now because they're underpriced, if that's working with influencers because many are still underpriced, whether that's taking the high risk of trying to make a $10,000 to $50,000 version of what you just saw, their incredible video, because that one video can be your Dollar Shave Club of your brand. Saying yes to everything. If you want it, if you're hungry, you do what I did, which is 4 years ago when I didn't jump into podcasting right away. The first 2 years I just went on everyone's. And so I could have went to sleep at 11 p.m. or I could have went on Lewis House's podcast at 11 p.m. That was a decision. It's just about awareness. Where are the eyeballs? And so just put your time and effort into that. Some of it's free, some of it costs money. Thanks. You got it.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, brother.
My first time seeing you. Your honesty is so beautiful, and it's just wonderful listening to you.
Appreciate it, bro.
As someone who's trying to build a brand and get a podcast and get more into Facebook and all these sort of things, Twitter and all this.
Yep.
What are kind of some tips you have for building a powerhouse team around you to help you accomplish all these things?
First, it has to be so stay here. First, it has to be practical. So some people in here can afford people, other people can't. So they either have to learn how to do it themselves by spending hours looking at YouTube videos on how to or read, or finding people. We're in an incredible era right now. There's so many kids, 14 to 21, that want to be creators and think it's cool to do it for free, So you just need to test and learn. Everybody's overthinking. Just do. Like, I don't know, post right now, like literally right now, as soon as you sit down, like go on fucking whatever platform has the most, go on all of them and be like, I'm looking for a video and audio intern and see what the fuck happens. Like, again, I always tell people, watch what I do, not what I say. Like, I know a lot of, there's a good amount of people I see here that follow me, like randomly out of I fucking tweeted today, does anybody make customizable retail floor mats? I needed a retail floor mat. Like, you do? Good. Do you do them for free in exchange for some awareness? Like, I would ask and then try somebody and be like, like the amount of people I've hired when it was early in something and I didn't know if they were good or bad, I just thought it was much smarter to just do it and then figure out if it was working, and then I'm like, oh fuck, they sucked. I'm just not scared to waste money or time, and everybody's petrified because you worry about what other people think about you. That's why, if you're curious. That's the fucking answer. That's the fucking, see ya. That's the fucking answer. Your answer's so easy. How do you build a team? Hire some fucking people, bro. I mean, right? But it's like, but you're like, but I don't understand. Like, people are scared to get had because they don't get it. Okay, put in a shitload of time to learn the craft, or bring someone in and watch what they're doing carefully instead of like outsourcing it and fucking falling asleep because you're all fucking passive income and I got a team doing shit and I fucking stupid. Got it?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Jay.
My name is Jay, and I run the Inner Changemaker podcast, and I want to ask a question that goes a little deeper with what you're saying in terms of sound and watching what you do.
Sure.
We've noticed that you've launched a couple other podcasts outside of Ask Gary V.
Within my experience, mean like the brown paper bags and that
brown
shit?
paper bags,
okay.
kind of like the 365 daily. So
the 365 is an Alexa skill.
Right. Okay.
Briefing, excuse me. So I've been doing sub-branding in my podcast because I'm testing to see if there's traction, and I'll spin them out and create new pillars.
Okay, so I guess my real question is for content creators that started on like one platform. For example, I started an interview-based show, right?
Great.
Just kind of like you have a Q&A show.
Yes.
If you kind of have that urge to kind of branch out,
do it within the interview show because you have audience there.
Yeah.
Don't worry that you may lose a couple people. Like right now, as I'm sure everybody has seen for 2 strategic reasons, out of nowhere, I'm talking a lot more than I should be about wine, right? I'm doing it for a reason. There's no question that there's people unfollowing me because they're like, yo, bro, I fucking came here to fucking get pumped up because I have no fucking juice. The fuck are you trying to sell me actual juice, right? Like, so, but I don't give a fuck because I'm playing a macro game. Like, I don't want to lose people from it. I'm sad. I don't want to disrespect your attention and know what you came for, but I need to test something.
Right.
And this is what I have. And so I think it's better off for you to like try it because one, you may hit pay dirt. One thing a lot of people don't realize is your numbers look good, but they're disguising the fact that you've plateaued and you're tired. And so I think you try it within it. And you take the risk of a little decline for enormous upside, because you can always go back.
Right.
Instead of starting a whole new thing that's going to take energy. Got it?
Got it.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hey, Gary.
What about, like your hat, bro?
Thank you. Appreciate that. My name is Prince. I run a company called Art of Visuals. We have over 1 million content creators in 122 countries. You said something earlier about everyone 14 to 22 wants to be a content creator. I absolutely agree with that and have tons of those people in my community. The problem is with there being so many content creators now, how do these content creators, how do they create a business? How do they make money when you have thousands of people doing it for free, et cetera?
Being better.
Cool.
Yeah, guys, it's supply and demand. And then once there's too much supply, you have to be the best.
Right.
And just move on to the next thing. Like, I bought all the Google AdWords of every wine term for 5 cents a click the day it started. That was good. Then everybody jumped on and they started becoming $2 and $3 and $4 words, and it became different. Then I had to be better. Then I had to be more crafty. Then what I started doing is the day the Wine Spectator would come out with good scores, we would buy that exact wine, that exact vintage. That became our new arbitrage for a year or two before everybody caught up. When a market's mature, you've got to be better.
Do you think it's good enough just to be a content creator? Do you think
Nope.
these content creators need to also have products and other things that they're pushing as well?
Look, if you're
just the
fucking
art?
Steven Spielberg, you probably can end up just being a content creator. But if you're like Sal, maybe you got to consider other revenue streams.
Right.
It's just very basic business. Supply and demand, Prince, right? 4 years ago, there are people that land grabbed. They were good and they were first. It's just real estate. If you were the people that bought Malibu beachfront property first, you won. Right, boys? You won. You made money. But there's a reason you were the first. It wasn't fucking Malibu yet, Prince. And now people who buy Malibu beachfront properties, they're just better. So all those kids that they're gonna aspire to be the next this, they've got a rude awakening. To be the next this, you've got to be 5 times better. It's evolution. When people debate these athletes versus these athletes would destroy every athlete from other generations because they work out 24/7 now. They have data now. It hurts my feelings too that my childhood kid, they would get fucking destroyed. LeBron would step on people's heads in the 80s. People don't get it. It's just fucking evolution.
Cool. Thanks, Gary.
You got it. Great hat.
Thanks, man. I don't really have ask for you. I've listened to
No
it.
worries.
I've watched your stuff a ton.
Thanks, Jared.
I just want to say thank you for giving me the permission to pursue my passion and now do what I love every day and spend time with my family and make things. I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you because I don't know if I'll ever see you. If you ever want to play bubble hockey, I'll destroy you.
Dude.
And
Two
I
things.
know that you say
What
that.
a mad dog.
I know that
Where do you live? Well, first of all,
I live here. There's a spot right down the street. I can sit and play.
listen, that's gonna happen now. I think.
I'm a winner in Boise, Idaho, Gary.
It's so crazy. You're funny.
It's
You
like
know
challenge.
me. You know that now I'm getting now I'm black and want to destroy your face. But you know what's more interesting though? Your fucking Whalers hat is fucking me up because I'm like, fuck man, he's got a Hartford Whalers hat. This team hasn't been in the league for 20 fucking years. He probably is awesome at bubble hockey. I'm gonna do something for real based on what you said. I want you to come to VaynerMedia for a day. I'll pay for your flight and the hotel. And during that day, we'll play bubble hockey and we'll see what's up.
Hello, Gary. I first want to say thank you to both you and Russell. You two are kind of like the Jesus of marketing and branding. I come from a poor third world country, Dominican Republic, and if it wasn't for you two, I wouldn't be here. So I just want to say thank you. So my question right now is what are you doing in other languages? Because right now, my main language is in Spanish, and I see a blue ocean. Russell's always talking about blue ocean.
He's right.
And other languages, ridiculous, the blue ocean that there is, marketing, fitness, whatever, you name it. The ocean's blue. So I want to know, what are you doing? Because I'm going balls deep into Spanish.
So what I've been doing over the last 6 months, I've poured an ungodly amount of money into infrastructure to transcribe all my content into a ton of languages and paid distribution in them. I'm going to Singapore, which is my second trip to Asia in the last 3 months. I'm going to mainland China in January. I'm going to India in February. I'm spending an enormous amount of time, and I'll spend millions of dollars next year just on the transcription and distribution of the content that I'm natively making in America in the English language. So a solid amount.
Okay, I just want to say influencer marketing in other languages, it's cheap in English, in Spanish is pennies on the buck. So
it's super. I mean, again, because I just can't, because I miss them. I haven't seen I remember when Jerome and I was like, Jerome, you need to go and figure out who these fucking influencers are in Mexico, because they're even in music right now, there's so many. I'm spending a lot. Maybe you guys are paying attention because I love hip hop. I'm spending more time with these artists. I keep telling them, you need to go down to South America. There's so many artists there that are really popping. You have the leverage because the brand of America. I mean, they're much bigger artists than you, but you're America, so you're automatically bigger than them. I totally agree. You got it. Good luck.
Gary, Caleb Maddox's dad, I want to thank you personally for your impact in his life. Between you and Russell Brunson, seriously, I mean, coming from a dad, there's no way I can repay you. Just
I appreciate it, man.
the character that you've taught him. So I thank you for that. I have two-part question. One, you gave him some advice last time you were with him about patience, and I hear you talk about that a lot. And I want to know, as a dad, you know, can you expound a little bit more on that? And then I'll wait till you answer that and have one more part about that.
Right. So, you know, it's super fun for some of us in this space. We're literally watching your son grow up. And I mean, I just saw him like, fuck, dude, you don't look 14 anymore. You know, like, so and now he's hanging around with all these fuck faces. So he's going to get into trouble, right? Like patience is important because, you know, he's got more swag now. His sneaker game is stronger. Like, he's going into that time of his life where dumb decisions are going to be made because he's making decisions to make short-term cash because he's trying to arbitrage it for other things in his life. Like, why do I preach patience? Because it's the only thing that keeps people away from being straight fucking assholes.
That's good.
Thanks.
I like it. So what did your dad do? You know, you talked about
I didn't have my dad in my life. Like, I mean, luckily still have my dad in my life. I didn't know my dad until I started working in a liquor store. Like, my dad left before I woke up and came home after I slept. Like, as a matter of fact, it's probably funny how I feel about you guys. It's fun to watch, you know, because I didn't have that, you know. But what my dad did do for me, ironically, is because I have that kind of salesmanship and charisma, I was completely full of shit. Like, I would be, everything I make fun of, subtly, I would be if it wasn't for my dad. Because at 14, 15, I went to that liquor store, and you would walk into what it was called Shoppers Discount Liquors back there. I was 14 years old. I looked 9. You'd walk in and be like, do you have this product? And I'd be like, yeah, that we have, because I was already full sales kid. I'm like, we have that product, but I knew we made more money on this one. I was like, but this one's better. I had it. It was phenomenal. I'm 14. People were like, you had it? I'm like, yeah, it's my dad's store. I taste it. I mean, I don't think talk about making shit up. I don't think I said a real thing once. And so my dad took me and he taught me that. My dad thinks embellishing is straight lying, and he suffocated me over a 3-year period that really changed the course of my life. And I think a lot of my success comes from I have all the skill sets of that character, but between being, you know, old country and really my dad really not allowing me to be that guy. So that's what he did for me. And I think that's what you know, as a dad, you need to just keep watching him evolve. And when he goes into territories that you think are historically incorrect, not new ideas and doing new shit, no, tried and true fucking human dynamics that win and lose, that's how you try to guide it.
Yeah, one more if you don't mind. I'm sure a lot of these people probably have kids as well. So, like, your dad was a powerful businessman, and you had a lot of ideas and passion as a young age. What did he do to not, like, how did you guys balance that? Was that decision of him making you stop sell baseball cards to come work in the liquor store, was that the right decision? Would you do that for your kids? I'm only asking out of curiosity, because when I hear that, I'm just very curious about it.
It's a tricky one, man. First of all, we were an insular family. We were an immigrant family. We didn't know shit. There was no internet. Like, we didn't know anything. Like we literally just thought when you turned 14, you go work at the store. We were merchants. Like, right? Like, you know, people like that. You know that cliche story. Just what it was. It was my 14th birthday. It was fucking time. You know, my D's and F's in school weren't helping me with any compelling reason that I could get out of it. So, you know, as far as how we did it, we fucking fought I fought for every inch I had. And then I got lucky. What happened was, when I came from college, my dad had saved up a lot of money through these years and started building a dream house for him and my mom. And he took that year off. And he was just not around. And that year, I took the business from $3 to $10 million in sales, and that was the end of the debate.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Right over here, Gary.
Thanks, brother. Hi.
Hi. My name is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
I'm really enjoying your speech, so
thank you.
I was wondering, in retrospect, you've built a brand around yourself and your name.
Yes.
Is that what you would recommend looking forward, or rather more of a brand around a brand?
I think you have to do both if you're going to build it around yourself, because what you're alluding to is you can get pigeonholed and you live and die by the person. I think a lot of people forget with me, I built Wine Library first. Garry V came later. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I went the Caleb route per se. I didn't come up the game as me, and so I know how to build. Like I'm serious. Like it's a little bit fucked up now. I don't think I can pull it off, but I kind of want to. Actually, you just inspired me, Sarah. I'm literally going to build a $25 million business in the next 3 years that nobody knows is mine, just to remind everybody for myself, because I'm weird like that and I need it, like that I build businesses. Now, let me promise everybody in this room one thing. Fame is the #1 arbitrage in our society. Fame is not Snapchat ads, not being the first result on Google. Fame, full brand awareness is the #1 arbitrage. So I've built my brand as a biz dev machine.
Sure. Well, I'm glad I could inspire you. And let me know if you need a goalie.
Wow.
Hockey. I think I could.
God, I might.
Pretty
He's got a
amazing.
Whalers hat. I'm scared.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, Rach. You have a name tag.
Oh, I got so excited. Okay, I'm Rachel. Wow, that was like cool for a second, and then it wasn't. So I'm the mom of 2.
And then I was just an idiot.
I've got a 3rd on the way.
Congrats.
And it's awesome. Being a parent is obviously quite challenging as an entrepreneur. You talk a lot about what you were taught through entrepreneurship, through your dad's mistakes and successes, and you've had a lot of success as an entrepreneur. So you have 2 kids, right?
I do.
What are the 3 main things that you hope that they get out of life, and how are you going to instill those 3 principles into them?
The biggest reason I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship is it's the clearest thing and most obvious thing to me that allows you to do the following, which is do what you want to do today. Right? Like waking up and being able to do whatever the fuck you want to do is incredible. So the only thing that I want for my kids, like from that standpoint, is the ability to do what they want to do every day. Now, what scares me about that is they're probably going to have that no matter what, because they're going to inherit extreme wealth. So much so that I've really been having feelings. I used to make fun of Warren Buffett and Bill Gates in my head of like, you're going to donate 99% of your money until, it's funny, you talk shit until you live shit, right? Now I'm like, fuck, I don't want to give these kids shit. Fuck that. Like, because rich kids have a huge disadvantage, because when I wanted Sega Genesis in 1989, my mom's like, cool, go get it, right? Like when I wanted to go to a Knicks game, I had to sell baseball cards and shit, sit in the fucking, fucking top row. Fucking Carmelo's coming over my Hamptons house to play with Xander. Like, it's fucked up. So I don't know what, but here are the things I give a fuck about. Number 1, more than anything, and I will kill them, murder, go to jail, they have to be kind. Kindness is the most important. Number 2, if I ever see them even inkling, even a innuendo, even a subtle little joke of imposing my and my wife's wealth on somebody else because they think they're part of that, I'll break their fucking neck. And then number 3, I will not raise them in the political correct environment we live in now. They know there is no such thing as 4th place trophies or participation prizes. So, now, if they want to be nonprofit, look, they're going to look at Daddy's Mountain and they're going to be like, fuck that. Or they may do what I do. My dad's things seem big. Mine's going to be a hell of a lot bigger, but like other people have made it bigger than me and kids have done this. They're going to look at that and they're going to say, fuck that, I'm going the other way. I'm building schools in Afghanistan. Or they're going to be like, fuck it, I'm going to climb that mountain. I'm going to stick it to Big Mouth. I don't care. I don't need my kids to be entrepreneurs. I just need them to be as lucky as my mom. I got D's and F's. Every immigrant got good grades in the 80s. There's a couple of people a little older here. There was no entrepreneurship. School. Good school. That was it. My mom spit in the faces of all those parents that made fun of my D's and F's and gave me air cover to be me, and it really fucking worked out. Not only for me, but the world became it, right? If my kids want to paint in tomato sauce. I will back them to the earth's end as long as that's really why they're doing it, not because they're doing something to like run away from something or something of that nature. So just blind support as long as they're kind.
And the last thing I wanted to say is I'm going to buy the Minnesota Vikings. So I'll see you
Super Bowl?
in the Owners Club.
No. Super Bowl. Jets, Vikings, 2047. I'll see you there.
I love this. Thank you.
Hey, Dan. I didn't see Dan. What's up, Bran?
So my question,
Hey, Dan.
My question is about time.
Time.
So you're an angel investor in 100 companies. You have books and an 800-person agency and a family, and it's unreal to watch how much content you're putting out. How do you choose between the thousands of startup pitches you're getting and which interview to do or which speaking event to do? There's just so much.
100% blind belief in my intuition. Because Dan, you know this, and you and Brandon, everyone's hustling, right? Like, eventually you lose, right? Like, eventually you don't have enough time to do all the opportunity, so you're crippled by opportunity. You just have to go that route. Otherwise, you're just gonna spend all your time thinking about the process of making the best decision. And and you're gonna waste being able to do 4 things, which would have included the 2 things you've been debating for the last fucking day. So, just the belief in my intuition. And then lots of making fun of yourself. This one's a perfect example. Talk about time. My son has a birthday now because he has an August birthday. I didn't realize it was like this Saturday, and I think it actually came after we booked this. But all the money from this talk is going into the fucking, I was originally gonna go to Seattle, and now I have to take a private plane not to miss the flight. I just fucked it up, and the whole day I'm just complaining to D-Ron. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. So you're not always gonna make it right. You're always gonna play micro, macro. But I think everybody's saying no. Everybody's saying no to shit because they think they're being thoughtful or they're smart. You know how many people are saying no that aren't even fancy enough to say yes yet? So I just say yes, man, a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you too, bro.
I have a 2-part name, Frank J.
Love it. How are you, Frank J?
Very good. Thank you, brother. And I want to appreciate you and your dedication, your consistency, and your communication. We own a company called International Tribe Design, where we bring a style of communication which is very simple, but yet rare in this society, which is honesty and authenticity. And I feel like you embody this. And I feel like a lot of us entrepreneurs, well, at least for me, it was like, shall I present myself strategically or authentically?
Yeah.
And what I want to ask you is the first part of the question, what do you think sells more or influence more people? Authentic honesty or strategic marketing, neuro-linguistic programming, communication?
I think in the short term, it's a real battle. I think either could win. I think in the 30-year macro, the radical, candor, authentic way always wins.
And what do you think?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing that fucks with people is a lot of people can win on strategic, you're being very politically correct, a lot of people can win on bullshit, play it out for 4 years, get out of the game with their chips, and win. Not a lot of people can, though. But then once you know of one of those examples, it sounds exciting because it's a fuckload easier.
And what do you think the future is for collaboration versus competition? So what we're all about is collaboration. Let's bring us all together. I think we can all do great things as a team.
I think both will work, right? Competition matters, right? I want to destroy fucking Whaler Hat. I want to kill fucking. I want to kill Vikings girl. Competition matters, right? I'm not gonna zenning this all out. But I'll tell you, in real life, Droga 5. Let's just put it even in black and white. Droga 5, David Droga, phenomenal businessman, has an incredible agency. He's gonna get his. Let me tell you one thing that a lot of you are making mistakes because you're saying shit behind people's backs. You can't stop winners from winning. Winners win. So something, I don't remember when it became obvious to me, but it's unbelievable. If I see a winner, I'm like, she's a winner. It's binary. Even if she's taking David Droga, winning in my world alongside VaynerMedia, right? I'm pumped. I'm happy for him because if you're also a winner, you're gonna always eat. Winners win. And a lot of people see somebody as a winner and they're not there yet, or they feel like they're taking away from them and they're talking shit. And really all that's doing is exposing where you're at. Like, it's unbelievable. When, I hang out with a lot of people, like people start yapping a little, I'm like, winners win, right? And so unless you're doing something really not noble or things of that nature, winners win. And so I think that I collaborate with other winners who take from me. Complex and, Vice, and these are they're gonna win.
Yeah.
You're not gonna stop a winner, and so keep that in mind. I think that's something that does hold back this competitive, driven, hungry demo more than you might realize. Envy is stupid. It's just not practical. I just don't spend any time. I'm like, why? I don't know.
Awesome. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Hey, Rob.
Gary, great to be here with you, man. Seriously, it's been about 3 years since you came across my Facebook feed. You were talking to some millennial kid and you just owned him, and you just had me hooked from that moment. But a couple things. So you talked about.
By the way, I apologize. I'm really anti the downplay of like millennial kids. Like, and I don't think that's what you're doing, but I just figured I'd put it on film. I'm 42. There was plenty of lazy losers, entitled fuckers when I was 22 too. Like this notion that millennials are first and foremost dramatically better human beings than any other generation. It's actually not even close. And you can't be mad at them. The market, this has nothing to do with millennials and over-parenting. This has to do with economics. The last 9 years have been phenomenal. We haven't had a crash. How many people here are under 29? Raise your hand. You've never tasted the game when it was hard. You've never been punched directly in the fucking mouth yet. You don't wake up like I did in April 2000 and the market collapsed and every invoice and every order is over. You don't know what it feels like when the corporations that want to give you $10,000 for a selfie don't spend money anymore. It gets a little harder to be an influencer when there's no cash in the system. So I'm not mad at millennials. I'm mad at people's not understanding of why, they're awesome human beings because they're far more well-rounded, and they just had it good, and that's not their fault. We could have had that. I got into the world in New Jersey, 2000, got shit on, 9/11, got shit on, 2007, got shit on, so I've tasted that. So just keep that in mind. And by the way, the reason I told that story is please keep in mind that the economy has been phenomenal for the last 9 years. Like, a lot of the good is coming for you because of what's happening at a macro level. You're just average. I'm being serious. And I'm not saying that I'm saying that to make you reflect so that you can step up your game so that when the fucking ravage comes, you don't die. So good, you got a little zing that you're average, but now you can actually stay alive and not go back to business school. Sorry, bro.
Didn't know that was going to take you down that course, but so you talk about how companies are kind of behind the 8 ball on the whole social media, Facebook marketing. It's a good value right now. Are you starting to see that trend diminish, and when do you see that being not a value, Facebook?
As soon as math and art combine to not be valuable, like on television. Meanwhile, Super Bowl's the best ad. Anybody here who's got 20 million thrown around, run a Super Bowl ad this year. The problem is there's 7. It's only 7 for the ad, which is phenomenal, but the network makes you buy some other shit. That's where it gets fucked up. But Super Bowl is an incredible value. I don't know. I'm stunned that these big companies that I work with still question its ROI and want to run commercials and billboards. It's so fun to watch them all go out of business over the next 20 years. They deserve it. I can't wait. Seriously.
Last thing is you mentioned political correctness in your kids, which is awesome, and I think that's what everyone loves about you is you just say what's on your mind, and I think we can all take a page out of that book of just being sheer honest. With this crazy climate of the whole the Google guy that got fired from there,
yes.
The whole ESPN thing, like
yeah.
how do you see this political correctness, and what do you do to mitigate that in your company?
So It's a really good question, Rob, and it's a really tough one. Couple things. Number one, I said something the other day that finally articulated how I feel about all of it, which is I said to a friend, I'm like, fuck, people. So there's only one place in my life where I'm not logical or practical: American football, right? Like, against all data, I think that, the Patriots are cheaters, and Bill Belichick's a terrible guy, and even though Tom Brady's like clearly, and I've like literally spent money on investigative journalism, he's the nicest human being ever, I still say things like, yeah, he left his pregnant wife for Giselle, he's a piece of shit. Like, I will do anything blindly. I have chemical, like even talking right now, the chemicals in my body are different. I feel it. I hate them so much. I really want Bill Belichick to die. Like, it's funny. I wonder if people think like I'm going for, I want it. So cool, we've established that, right? I'm clearly irrational, over-emotional, not logical, and just the worst version of myself in that one narrow place. There are people who are fans of me, who've DM'd me, or have tweeted that I'm a bad, I yell at children, at games, I'm not joking. You know how people get beer muscles? You know that term? You drink and you want to fight? I have sports muscles. Like, I go to a game and even though everybody would probably be able to beat me up, I want to fight you because it feels better than feeling the pain of your team beating mine, right? Like a week ago, I realized, holy fuck, that's how blindly everybody is now about politics. You're either red or blue, and you deploy no logic, no rationale, you are blindly emotional, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, and that's it. We're about to turn every issue into how the fuck is climate a political, what are we doing here? So I have a huge office in New York and LA. 84% of my employees are liberals. 84, right? And so I have liberal points of view all day long. The thought of hating anybody or disliking another human being for any reason other than being a patriot is insane to me. Insane to me. But I have clearly, Republican point, like an 8th place trophy is why China is gonna shit on us with such a big fucking dump that we'll never be able to breathe again. How I handle it is by one by one. It's very hard. You cannot handle this at a macro right now because our society's on tilt. That's how I do it. Thanks, man. I'm so fucking pissed I was born in fucking Russia. I would fucking run, win easy, and fucking dominate. I really would. I'd really feel like I could do it. Josh?
Gary, I want to talk
nice
about...
meeting you in the airport, man.
Yeah, absolutely, thanks. I want to talk about influencer marketing.
Yeah.
YouTubers, vloggers, Instagrammers. A lot of people are talking about Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Snapchat ads, ROI. We can measure ROI with those.
You can measure with influencers too.
You can, but it takes a lot longer.
No, it doesn't.
How so?
You've got to make the creative be a sales creative instead of a brand creative. You can't measure the ROI of Facebook either when you do it the way I do it because I'm pumping it for brand. I'm not trying to sell you shit. I could measure it if I had a $49 course.
So how much?
Josh, people are confused between branding and selling. Make fucking phenomenal fucking influencers go for the sale in the creative if they choose to and you can afford them. Logan Paul sold a fuckload of Dunkin' Donuts fucking gift cards. Sales, super fucking measurable, Josh.
So would you focus, let's pretend you're not Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Let's take you out of the equation. You are
Who am I?
You are a 41-year-old, 42?
41 still.
41.
Slow your roll.
You're a 41-year-old nobody, right?
Yes.
You have, say, $1 million of investors behind you.
Well, then you're definitely not nobody if you got that. Let's just context shit, Joshy.
All right, fine. You're a 41-year-old nobody. You're getting into the game, right?
Yep.
Would you focus on growing your personal brand, or would you focus on leveraging other people's personal brands that
Both.
are already thing? So would you ride the backs of using the people that you're building, that you're investing in? And
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're trying to, are you asking, Josh, what are you asking? I'll give you the answer. You're trying to build your personal brand?
I am trying to build my personal brand
Thank you.
eventually. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you thinking
but,
about?
But
are you
I
try-
want to build my personal brand in a different niche than the influencers that I want to invest in.
Understood. I think that understand this, just because they may be in a different niche, they have so much awareness that the people that watch them may be into other things. Got it?
Yep.
So if it's a good deal on awareness, you might be able to convert, and then your product has to be good.
Cool.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the math you're looking at. You don't have to use the targeted nature of the ads if the influencer's a better deal, even though you might lose 85% of the audience because that's not why they're watching them, but they're still gonna get 15% of opportunity, and then the whole fucking kit and caboodle is, are you good enough?
All right, one last question. I'm a diehard Patriots fan. If Tom Brady makes it to a Super Bowl this year, will you go to the Super Bowl with me on me?
No.
No? All right.
And not only that, I've been to the last 6 Super Bowls. They've been there 2 or 3 times, and I'm now with Vayner Sports, and Steve Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, my business partner, so I go, and the owner's dinner, it's all fun. The last 2 Super Bowls, 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, I left the city Sunday morning. I've not watched the Patriots play a down of a Super Bowl game in the last 4 Super Bowls that they've played in because I refuse. Everybody's like, the greatest comeback in a Super Bowl? I'm good. I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about. I didn't see shit.
Well, you like winners, and I'd like to invite you to the winning team.
No. Josh, you're confused, my friend. I'm a winner. You root for winners, dick.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Be careful.
Thanks, Gary.
That, by the way, you just witnessed my favorite move. Knicks Heat game 7 years ago. Dude walks by, beer, remember, sports muscles. Guys, I get up, I'm like, you fucking suck. Sit the fuck down. I mean, I get weird. You sit the, he looks at me, he goes, yeah, we suck. Look at the scoreboard, asshole. I go, not them. You, asshole. You suck. By the way, the darkest version of what you just saw, and Josh knows I love him, but the darkest version, I go to Foxborough for every game. We always get shit on. Around the 3rd, 4th quarter when I'm really getting shit on, because I bring my Jets jersey, I'm fucking running in there proper, right? Somewhere around the 4th quarter when I'm getting shit on, I change the conversation. I'm like, look, Zan, I'm super pumped that your entire self-esteem is wrapped into your football team because you work at Pizza Hut. And so, fuck you. My life's better than yours. Maybe your football team's better than mine, but I'm better than you, Zan.
Yes.
Jared?
Hey, Gary. So, going back a little bit, you talked about intuition, right? And belief in your intuition.
Yes.
I'm a 2-day idea guy, right? I get an idea, and then
me too, man.
After 2 days, I'm like, that was a
and you're being
crappy
nice,
idea.
Right? You're probably like a 7 that you let 2, right? More, right, Nicole? Like 8 that, like he bothers the fuck out of you, right?
Yeah.
He's like, what about a drone ice cream company? Go ahead.
That's a good idea.
Thanks, brother.
So, how do you develop that intuition, and how do you like support and strengthen your belief in your own intuition to move forward?
By acting on some of them. The biggest problem is, especially when you have like people around you, is like you want to be right? Like it's much better than getting made fun of for being wrong consistently. But like by fucking picking, like I try to do stuff. Everyone's like, oh, you're always in it, like doing like just trying shit. Like nobody talks about the stuff that I'm doing. That guys, nobody remembers the part where Michael Jordan couldn't get to the finals because the Pistons were beating him every single time.
Isaiah Thomas. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Guys, let me really unleash you doing more shit. Nobody remembers the losses as long as you have a win. And like, listen, some of you know my stuff, and like I'm starting to like figure out my own stuff. It comes down to 6 people. Your mom, your dad, your siblings, your loved ones. You're doing so much shit based on their points of view on stuff you can't even imagine. You can unwind that, you're off to the races. It scares me how much I value my wife and parents' opinion and how much I don't at all. And in that balance, I win. On a macro, I value them. But on a micro, my decisions, not at all. Awesome. Jared, so you just got to do 1 or 2 of them. You go 1 for 7, it's a lot better than going 0 for 0.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got it.
Last question.
Yeah. Sign it?
Yeah, did you sign my book?
100%. Hi, let's do it while I'm signing. What's your question, Katie?
Hi, Gary. I'm Katie Richardson, and I was first introduced to you as I was trying to go to bed at night, and my husband's got his phone on, and I'm hearing this guy make a rant in a cab, throwing F-bombs every other word. I'm like, what the heck is this? And turns out you speak tons of truth, and so you have won over this mother of 4 who's a business owner, and I love it. And so that's part of what my question to you is like, you own who you are, and I love that. And
Thank
like
you.
that's what people are so attracted to, right? Is
100%.
You're up there being Gary. At what point, like you talked about how you worked with your dad, and it was a $3 million company, and then you took it to $10 million after he left. At what point did you like give yourself permission to be you, and then realize, like, tell us that story of when you were like, wow, this is working. People are connecting with me and my way of being, and like, what was that like when you were like, this is working?
I feel like
I'm going to keep doing this.
You know, it's funny. Thank you, first of all. There's a lot of things there. Number one, it is 100% because of nature, nurture. Being an immigrant and always having a chip on your shoulder, you're always an outcast to begin with at some level. And I was a Russian immigrant, which was our major enemy when I was a kid. So I had some weird shit going on that I don't tell a whole lot because it's not as relevant these days, but there's a lot of parallels to whoever the bad guys are now. I was the bad guy. It was kind of weird for a little while. Number two, my mom. Okay, my mom blind, like, I remember walking freshman year in high school. I'm 4'11" my freshman year of high school. I spurted in sophomore year. I have the worst fucking mullet you've ever seen in your life. I've got a backpack that I'm rolling with that's bigger than me. And I'm walking down the hall, and I remember this vividly. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not the best looking, awesomest dude in the world? Like, my mom had me so brainwashed. I'm being serious, on straight positivity, that never went away. Like, my mom, if I opened the door for a woman, like, my mom was super smart. I'm doing the same thing. She would make, if I opened the door, this is a true story, Katie. I opened the door for a woman when I was 9 at McDonald's. That's the story. I went to McDonald's, a woman was coming, I held the door open for her. My mom reacted as if I won the fucking Nobel Peace Prize. And she did that about all the shit that matters, which is what makes me who I am today. 4th grade, Katie, 4th grade, I got an F in a science test. I needed to get it signed, because I guess that's how they used to do it. I don't know if they still do that shit. I flushed it down the toilet, because my dad hadn't gotten to me yet. And then, like, I was still a kid, so my conscience was still around. And so I just couldn't sleep, and I told my mom, and basically 3 weeks later, I was sitting in social studies, 4th grade, and said, fuck this, I'm out. And from that day on, I decided to fail every class, work on my business skills, and become who I'm gonna be.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Gary.
Brett.
This is my second time seeing you.
Sorry, Brett.
Yeah.
I just had a quick ask. I make amazing baby products, and I don't know if you're still having babies or not, but if you need like the awesomest baby gift for a friend, come to me. My company's called Pudge, like baby Pudge.
Send me an email to Gary at VaynerMedia.
Okay.
In the title, write our entire story. I was the one with the 4 kids, and the husband in the bed, and you won me over, and the Pudge, and this, all of it.
Awesome.
And then we'll interact.
Yeah, I'll make you look amazing as a gift giver.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brett?
So I was going to say, this is my second time seeing you, and it's funny how different energy, a different audiences. Like, the first time I went, you were like, you even told the audience, I am not excited to be here. I looked at your stuff, it sucks. And the lady had been like talking about coaching the whole time, and then you're like, don't do it, just do stuff. Anyways, it was awesome. It was in Provo. It was just a couple months ago in Provo, but it was funny. But anyways, quick side question was, like, do you sense energy in audiences?
100%.
Okay, because it's the same person.
I have my religions and my beliefs, then I have my craft, so I'm doing everything state of the art, right? So I have my theses, then I have my work. I was in Seattle yesterday, spent 9 hours, understand the voice space a lot better. My craft. So I have my theses, Brett, I have my craft, and the reason I'm doing well in speaking is I take my theses, I take my craft, which sometimes has some nuances that are valuable, right? Usually always ahead of the market, and then I reverse engineer the actual audience. I reverse engineer the audience. Like, I give a lot of thought and speak to the people that organize. Who are you? Where are you in your funnel of life? And like, what can I bring to the most general, and how quick can I get to Q&A so that whatever I miss in the general, we can get to in the details.
I totally agree, because it's just a different energy that I feel this time versus last time. But my big question is, when you think of like LeVar Ball or Kim Kardashian or any of these, or even Donald Trump for that matter, like
hacking culture.
Yeah, like what are your thoughts on them? And like, is that the kind of fame you want? Is that I mean, you talked about fame being the biggest arbitrage. What are your thoughts on those kind of people?
So there's a really interesting thing that I believe in, which is until you know somebody, you don't know somebody, right? And so like, look, I mean, getting political never works, but like, you know, Trump's got his shtick, right? And like, he won on my thesis for the last 10 years, right? Kim Kardashian literally is like we are all living in reality TV. People shit on reality TV in Hollywood, then they shit on influencers. They're all gonna pay, because if you're not abiding to what the consumer wants, you will always lose. It doesn't matter what you want on your ivory tower. It matters what the world is consuming. But I don't, to be very, very, very frank, I don't think about it a whole lot, right? I know why they're winning. They were native. DJ Khaled is an unbelievably important case study in the last 10 years and the next 10 years. His personality was native to a platform at the right time and the right moment, and he disproportionately changed his career on that back. Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump navigated reality TV when reality TV was what social media has been for the last 4 years. Somebody here is gonna get inspired and make a voice application for their business that will be that for when voice is here in 2 years for the next 6 years, from 2020 to 2026. It's literally the same game over and over, Brett. So what I want, listen, fame and exposure, you know, like, it doesn't change you, it exposes who you are. So I don't know how you personally judge those three, and everybody here judges those three differently. I just want to be known for what I am and who I am and how I roll.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
You got it.
Right here.
Hey.
Hi,
Hey,
Gary.
Rach.
How are you? I'm here with my amazing husband, Josh, who's like my backbone and amazing business partner. I'm a little googly talking to you because I remember meeting Justin Timberlake when I was 14, but you're like my 32-year-old Backstreet Boy.
He was an NSYNC.
I love them all, but I love you more. For the past 7 years, you've given me the ability to be really authentic. I'm in a niche where it's very club promoting.
Okay.
It's network.
Wait. She just say authentic.
Marketing.
Yep.
So I basically, for the last 7 years, have sold my soul to direct selling companies, and I made a lot of money.
Yep. Sounds hella
I built
authentic.
an incredible following of network marketers and direct sellers. And now that I built a great team that's passive, and I serve them and I love them, but I really want to branch out into more mainstream impact, primarily to female entrepreneurs. And I want to know, what's your recommendation for somebody like me who's had this huge niche? They all expect me to be the prospector, the closer, the lead generator, the team builder, to now to say, all right, I'm someone new, transition.
If we had coffee, I'm going to give you the 90% answer, because there's 10% that's too personal. I don't want to do it here. I have to figure out how mainstream you want to be.
I'll buy you coffee.
I'm sure.
Every day.
I don't know how mainstream you want to be. So like, if you want to be mainstream, like the cover of Forbes and like mainstream, like all the way mainstream, you'll have to give up network marketing.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. And I have no problem with whatever God has for me. I just would know if there's
I mean, that's
any advice.
it's a stunningly binary answer, Rachel.
Correct.
If you want to go mainstream, you have to give it up, because it is not mainstream. What's that?
Because of the stigma.
100%.
Yeah. And then my last question.
And the math around how many people make money in it and how many don't.
Correct. My last question is there any trends that you see, or platforms, or any advice that you see with women entrepreneurs, primarily my age, 30s, 40s?
Yeah, so the thing, it's funny, Katie, right? Hey, hi. Katie said the most important part. I've become unbelievably fascinated and empathetic about the difference between men and women. You know, I'm super fascinated by it from a business standpoint. That's my lens to the world. It's harder to be 100% yourself when you're a woman than a man. I genuinely believe that because men are dick faces, right? And so the answer to your question is to be 100% radically, transparently you. I'm also massively empathetic how that's difficult for everybody, especially attractive women.
Awesome.
But that's the answer.
Much. Thank you.
You got it.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? It's good to see you. How you been?
I've been good, man.
Good, man. It's good to see you.
So 4 years ago, I was couch surfing and living out of my car, and I sat in a room with Gary and 13 other kids, and Gary told us that this app was going to change our lives forever. And it did, and Gary was such a positive change on my life. Now, unfortunately, they deleted the app. What do I do?
Yeah, fuck. That's amazing.
Actually, I just wanted to make that joke, but basically, but
I knew
but
you were going.
But
Yeah.
for a real question
Yeah.
for you, when you run into your failures and
Yes.
you feel like you're at your rock bottom,
Yes.
what's your next move? Because I'm always trying to reinvent myself.
Yep.
And I'll do things that work, and then I'll do things that don't
Chris,
work.
you and some of your friends there at the table, you guys have a big advantage, and all of you have gone a little bit different with that transition of Vine and what happened on Snapchat and Instagram and things of that nature. But you have something very special. First of all, you have talent, right? Second of all, you've once tasted what it's like to buy beachfront property in Malibu.
No, I live in an apartment still. But yeah, that'd be
But
nice.
you know what I mean? You,
Yeah.
AKA, you knew what it meant to your career by being one of the first 40 people that mattered on a platform that became huge, right?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to, what you and others that have, by the way, you know why, I wish you could see the goosebumps I have right now. It happened to me. I won Twitter.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I wasn't at the top of stuff like I was in that 2006, 7, and 8 world, you know, right? Why do you think the Vine thing, and this is where I'm going with this, basically if you choose to, it's gonna happen again. And let me explain why. The reason I got you guys all together and I flew to LA and met with others of you, like, the reason I did that was, it was black and white. I'm like, I fucking seen this show before, right? And like,
oh yeah, you said that. You actually said that. You were like saying this is the new YouTube and blah,
it just
blah,
was
blah.
so black and
Yeah, I
white.
remember.
And obviously it took different tacks, and the ones that kind of tripled down on Instagram had what happened. But instead of trying to catch up to what's now, I give you the recommendation that I took myself, because I tend to only give advice that I've actually done because it just feels better. You gotta either hibernate, make do, grind through, and spend all your time looking for that next one. That is 1,000. You should be downloading. You should be downloading a top 100 app in the Apple Store that is social or consumer facing every day of your life, creating an account and producing the first piece of content.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Awesome.
Thanks, Gary.
You got it, brother.
Fellow 4'11" freshman here.
I love it.
Really quick question, maybe a little personal. You know, we have this engine. All of us in this room have this engine. We have a hard time shutting off. It's what makes us successful. How do you balance work and family? How do you do it?
By first and foremost, not adhering to the current state of political correctness that everybody here is deployed on me, most of all, right? And second, extremism. I almost took the whole entire month of August off. Like, I go all in, right? I go, when I'm in this, like Monday through Friday, I do not see my kids pretty much at all. 39 weeks of the 52 weeks in a year, just what it is. And then on weekends and, 7 weeks, 8 weeks of vacation a year, I'm all in the other way. That's how I do it, for me. But that is only uniquely gonna work if me and my partner in crime are aligned on that strategy, audit that strategy every day. By the way, I don't even wanna do it anymore, as now they're 8 and 5 and not 5 and 2. They're just more interesting to be around, So like, for example, I guarantee you in 24 more months, this exact trip they're here and we go to, we go and see the Grand Canyon or something, so I'm so sad that so many people do certain things in parenting because that's what the other parents think they should be doing. Like, I don't know, I just want to make a very important statement that I implore every parent in this room understands. Everything that is right in parenting right now by the common standards will not be in 20 years. You're going to be judged one way or the other. So.
Cool, thanks.
You got it, brother.
Gary over here.
Oh, sorry. Hey, Alex.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Fellow 42-year-old. I think your mom and my mom should hang out, bro, because I think
similar stuff.
Same moms, yeah.
She sounds amazing.
And then just want to let you know, validation on the sound, totally true, because I literally take a shower with you every morning. So
thanks, brother.
Dude, just play it. I got a little shower thing. I listen to your audio.
I get it.
Gets me going. So thank you.
That visual is fucking awesome.
Whoa. I didn't even think about you seeing the visual, but now that I think about it, yeah, that could have gone a different way. Thank you. So I got a two-part question for you. One is on culture. So our company has grown, and now we're doing pretty well. And you've been to 9 figures, and that's where we want to go, right? So my first question is, okay, from a culture standpoint, when you grow rapidly, how do you embed the culture to make sure that it grows with the right people, right? So we built values, manifestos.
Ready?
Yeah.
How do you get muscles by doing push-ups?
You do it consistently every day.
I spend an ungodly amount of my time on HR. Okay. Now, I have 800 employees. The biggest thing I'm working on for 2018. So I have an open door policy, which is not working for me. It's real open door. The key big thing for my 2 admins and assistants is when an employee asks, they get booked. Whoever. First day, 9 years, done. Not working. They think I'm fancy and Gary V. They're scared. Nobody wants to really talk to their CEO. So next year, I'm going to mandate that I see every one of my employees every 6 months for 15 minutes, which is going to eat up big amounts of time. Culture is the only thing you trade on.
So you're going to see all 800 employees, 15 minutes.
Yes, twice a year.
Okay. So literally, you're taking that one on. I
agree.
Math
is daunting.
When I do the one-on-one time, it always works, but I'm just thinking that from a scaled standpoint. How the heck do I do
Scaling the unscalable is how you build long-term wealth.
Damn, dude. That's a good one.
Thanks, bro.
Right.
I didn't get up here for my looks.
Now we know why you get paid to stand up there. My second question was, okay, as you grow, obviously you have things you've got haters, right? I'm sure that people don't like you and whatever.
Sure.
So I always focus on the mission and the vision and the people that we're helping, right? But when you get certain people, it still affects me, when I get those stuff. So how do you overcome that so you can keep growing?
Empathy.
For them?
Yes.
And just their life circumstances, or?
Sure. If a human being can generate hate, they're not in a good place.
Amen.
So what do you do mentally and mindset to just keep going?
I deploy gratitude that I'm not them.
Okay. Got it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Hey, man.
Gratitude deployed.
So I started on Vine as well, doing comedy. Yeah. And now I do it on Instagram, and I grew a large following on there.
Very large.
Yeah. And it's still growing a lot, but I want to be ahead, as you say, and I know I have a lot of meetings about VR.
Yes.
And creating content within VR.
I'm a very anti-consumer VR guy.
Yeah.
In the timing that I like. Mm-hmm. So everything for me is 24, 36 months.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't know how many people are consuming at the scale that you would be giving up opportunity costs in other places in 36 months of VR. Until I see even one person consistently consuming VR, an hour a week, if I can find one human who's not a fucking really weird nerd, who spends 1 hour, right? So I think the reason you're feeling that is you're in the LA bubble. Mm-hmm. Everybody's pumping a ton of money from venture capital into VR.
Yeah, they have.
And it's literally, the thing you should study is what happened to the web in 99, 2000. You've probably seen it, pets.com. All these companies were worth $1 trillion. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel about VR. It's coming. Amazon's coming, right? eBay's coming. But I think for you and knowing the arbitrage that you can trade on, I don't believe, like if I was talking to you every week, I'd be like, that's not a good place to be spending your energy.
Okay.
That's my intuition.
Yeah.
I do think voice is incredible. And then I think for you specifically, because I know enough from afar, we don't know each other super well, but I know a lot from afar, you might want to think about what you want to put that energy into, what bucket. That's why it's good that you're here, right? What I do think these guys do, that's sales and or if it's, a brand or an event, or you're going to be able to push that energy towards something. You need to take a step back and get thoughtful with yourself on like what other interests you have, or that wouldn't come natural as the first thing you would think of, like the 5 or 6 things you think of health and wellness and lifestyle. It's interesting. It's probably something subtle. Putting your energy into building in that world, if you want to really double down on entrepreneurship, is a good idea.
Okay, cool. Thank
Awesome. You're welcome.
All right, guys, we have time for only 3 more questions. So we'll go Miles over there, and then we have 2 here, and that'll be it.
Charles, get up there. We'll do 4. But you have to stand up. I saw your face. All right.
Hey, Gary. I'm
Eric.
a big fan of mental models and ways to kind of overcome challenges.
Yeah.
And I like understanding other people's processes. So
Yeah.
my question to you is, what is your #1 business challenge right now? And what is your process to come up with that solution?
I'm crippled by opportunity is my #1 business problem. And it's similar to what I gave over there. I'm just attacking it with blind intuition. Every time me and my team try to attack it from a quant standpoint, it's too foreign, it's moving too fast on us. And so that's it, man. Crippled by opportunity, which is a blessing and a fucking half, as you can imagine, but it's the truth, It's the truth. Like, do I say yes to a 2nd season of Planet of the Apps? I mean, the Knicks are for sale. It's like running through my mind, Like there's just there's a lot going on, man. I have a lot going on.
Right. But I mean, other than intuition, I mean, I gotta imagine that there's a bottleneck in terms of leverage. Where's the
my
next
time?
step?
Yeah, I mean, intuition's the solve for the bottleneck, which is making decisions and deploying my energies against those decisions while leaving everything else on the side.
Very cool.
I decided a year ago, I was raising a $150 million fund. I gave all the money back. It was the biggest financial loss of my career because I hired the staff and I was going to pay the staff with the 2%, if you know venture, of the overall fund that I was going to raise $150 million on. That's a lot of money, 2%. I had a pretty expensive staff. I was going through the process and I'd raised about $80 million. And one night I'm flying home and I'm like, I don't believe in this. I don't want to spend this $150 million on startups. I think there's too much fake shit in the market. I don't know where to deploy it. I think I'm going to lose it. And I gave it all back. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's intuition, thought process, understanding, So I'm just doing that every day.
Awesome. Thank you.
You got it.
Hello.
Hey, Sabrina.
Big fan.
Thank you.
But my girlfriend is an even bigger fan, and I basically couldn't live down the shame of not asking you a question.
I love it.
So I'm a social media manager, and I would just love to hear about what you think is the best campaign you've ever ran, and why do you qualify it that way?
Sour Patch Kids candy. We made it a cultural phenomenon because we took all the money from television commercials, which go figure 12 to 15-year-olds don't watch, and we gave it to all the people that sit at that table, or the ones that look like them. We took, 4.5 years ago, we took Sour Patch Kids marketing budget and put it into Snapchat and Instagram when nobody was thinking that way. And if anybody has a 9 to 17-year-old in their life, they eat Sour Patch Kids.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
You got it. And Sabrina, to answer the question, the reason I quantify it that way wasn't, there's been campaigns that we've done that have made more money, have, made more likes or awareness or more views. He stands up here and he goes, thanks to everybody, we have 100,000 views. I already know him enough to know, and what's happening with those views. A lot of people in social media, they plan vanity metrics, not sales. The Sour Patch Kids is the answer because we've had campaigns get more views. This Budweiser, Derek Jeter and Harry Caray, the stuff we're doing for Budweiser is insane. We've really crushed sales. We're changing a tough brand in the US, but Sour Patch Kids became the fastest growing candy in 20 years.
Wow. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Over here, Gary, real fast.
Oh, okay. No worries. Hey, Linz.
Hi. So I'm a course creator, and
Yes.
I also help entrepreneurs teach better so their students get better results. I'm a little bit at a crossroads. I heard you talking about being in a space that's a little overcrowded,
Saturated.
right? And so course creation is a little that, right?
Of course.
I see, though, the chance to make better teachers, to
Good.
make their products better.
Good.
That's one thing.
Good.
And I think I could do really well there.
Great.
But I'm also around the opportunity of, I'm a past tenure track professor, and I left academia.
Okay.
And as I was leaving, fellow professors were like, you figured it out, like, go. I also feel a calling to help professors kind of do what I do.
You should definitely do that.
So that scares the
Because-
shit out of me.
No, I have great news.
But this is easier, like, helping entrepreneurs is so easy. Okay.
No shit, Linz.
I know.
But this is back to that Kevin question. Like you got to decide what you like. By the way, I have a crazy thing to tell you based on something I've been looking at.
Please tell me.
The professors are about to become easier
I know.
because they're all about to go out of business.
No, it's a sinking ship.
Yes, but
and the ones
guess
who know
what?
it-
This is the thing I wrote about in Crush It. I said all these newspapers and magazines are in deep shit. It's that the writers are going to be better, not worse. They think they're going to be. These professors are about to get the money they deserve.
Yes, and they're
Linz,
brilliant people.
Linz, eat
Yeah.
shit for 36 months, leave money on the table that was easy from the entrepreneurs that are never going to make it, and go help the
What's
professors.
my first move?
Your first move is to build the business structure. Like, what's the business that you want to do? Do you want to be TED conferences? Do you want to be a course? Do you want to teach one-on-one? Do you want to sell a product? I mean, what you need to decide what you
I want
are.
to help them plan an exit strategy and to realize that there's actually money, that there's a lot of professors that could probably make courses really good.
That's what you should do.
Yeah, okay.
So charge them money for your knowledge if that's what you want to do.
Okay.
And you can put that in 7 different buckets.
Yeah.
Right?
Thanks.
I'm telling you right now, you're walking right into what is going to be an enormously large space. And the fact that you were one of them, do you know how much I kill with small businesses?
Yeah.
Not because it's funny and haha, it's because I was one of them.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey Gary, I'm Kaylin.
Hey, Kaylin.
This is crazy to literally be face to face with you right now. So thank you so much for answering my question.
Can't see
one of the
you.
reasons that I
He's
love
like a
this
god.
is I really
Everyone's like, oh, thank you.
shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's pretty much everything that I do. I grew up super poor. Like
Yeah.
standing here with all of these people right now is just insanely surreal.
Right. And you want to kill them, right?
I don't want to kill them. I want to
Oh,
work with
shit.
all of you.
Okay,
Hit me up, please.
Yeah.
But this thing that's happened is I
No
feel like an
kills,
entrepreneur
just
on
work.
accident, honestly.
Okay.
And the thing that I love to do is the business that I do that's making me money. But recently I've started being way more vulnerable about the whole chip on the shoulder thing and telling my story, and that's resonating with a lot of people. But that is fucking hard. I hate doing that.
Because-
I'm very introverted. I
Yep.
don't like being out there that much. But that's what seems to be making the biggest impact.
I have
And
great
so-
news. It's binary. Either you do more of it and you get used to it, and like everything in life, once you get used to it, it just becomes your norm and you didn't realize it. Now, you may never be the most extroverted, but you just everybody here can be a better singer, dancer, and basketball player. They may not become LeBron, but if you do it every day, you get better. You keep putting yourself out there every day, you'll get better. So you can either choose to do that, or you could say, I don't like it. I'll leave the money on the table because I love the privacy and the private life and not having to engage, and you do that. It's your choice. You're in charge.
Are you an advocate for doing what's harder though? If
I'm
that's
an
going to
advocate.
make
I'm
a
an
big
advocate on
impact?
doing what you want to do, not because I said so or your friend said so. I'm an advocate of you doing what you want to be doing, but I always encourage to taste more, because it works. You know how many people here? Do you know how many people here hate oysters but have never had one? I think about that shit every day. That's how I think about business. You've made a judgment on something, yet you've never done it.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm gonna say. You've consumed it. I already know you're gonna do more of it because you've already done the hardest part, which is you've done it. You're now a foregone conclusion to me, KP. You're just gonna keep doing
I love that
it.
you just called me that.
You know, like that.
Thank you.
That's what you're gonna do.
Okay.
You're just looking for me to give you a little more juice to do it a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, which is amazing, and I'm thrilled to do it because it's fucking free. Here you go. Go.
Thank you.
What a man.
Is there anything that is hard for you? Like, your mindset, the way that you think about things, you're like, I'm confident, I can do this. But like, is it hard to like get up in the morning sometimes? Or
No.
Is anything hard at all?
Spelling is fucking impossible. I can't read for shit. If I was reading from a teleprompter right now, I would crumble and be out of here. Can't read for shit. Like, you know, fencing probably is, you know, hard. Oh, I'm really way below average in swimming. Poor swimmer. Like, always think like, fuck, I'll be super pissed if I like, that's how, if I die because we get fucked up, like somebody hits and I have to swim further than everybody, and I'm like, yeah, there's shit.
Okay. Can I get a photo with you?
You know why you asked that question?
Validation.
No, it's why you asked me of that question? Validation, the first part. The second part. You're asking me that as somebody who knows a lot about me because I don't spend any time on it.
Right.
We all suck at shit. So like, I don't care how you judge mine. You've got shit too. So because I don't care about that, the only reason people spend time on their weaknesses is because it's everybody else's opinion on it that they're trying to avoid. I don't care about your opinion about my weakness because I know you've got them too. So let's just move on.
Thank you so much. Can I get a photo with you when you're done?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Gary. If you ever, I swim a lot, so if you ever need a swimming lesson,
thanks, bro.
Let me know. I'm 37, so I'm not, where you are age-wise, but, I've been lucky a few times in life, and, I've done well and done not so well and everything, and I have done well. I guess my question is, it's always the concept of the encore, right? When my one company, I've had 8-digit companies before, and now I'm launching another one. And I guess it's like, how do you get into it, make bets on it, but feel accomplished if you don't outdo your last time?
Because I do not even remotely think that the financial part is the way I score it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's really simple. Like outdoing the last one is, even the way you position, I'm listening to your words, you're positioning it like, if you're putting pressure on that I need a 9er, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're probably gonna, especially, what's funny about positioning a 9er when you've had an 8er? It's hard to get going.
That's probably the challenge.
I know exactly what's going on with you, Charles.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm asking you, are you doing the ambition of a 9 or 10 or because you see the white space and you're gonna strike like a fucking cobra? Or is it because you really just wanna fucking do it? So let me give you an example. What I've been doing for the last 7 years. I don't love it. Client services, like having a 32-year-old brand manager from the University of Chicago telling me what she should do with Captain Crunch when she can't sell shit.
I'm actually from the UFC, so.
Great.
Yeah.
So, like, not fun for me.
Yeah.
But I know why I'm doing it. I decided at 35, 36 that I was gonna spend 10 years of my prime as a business person building a Death Star of communication by eating shit and building a very big business. And then I was gonna point that Death Star, the Vayner X machine, against the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, because my brother has it and I wanna cure it. Some business that somebody comes along that didn't know how to run it, so I bought it for $1 million and then I can get it to 100. But I realized 6-7 years ago, fuck, I now know who I am. Let me build the biggest infrastructure in the world around it. And then whether it's to help hurricane victims or sell sneakers, I'm gonna be able to point this fucking thing. So for me, I don't look at my EBITDA. I don't care how much we're growing. I've made a 20-year decision that I'm in the process of, and I'm gonna execute against that. And the numbers and dollars are just not the way I score. If you've been lucky enough to have the success you've had and you're this young, I would take a big step back and try to figure out, what is like the most fun or the most macro thesis you can come up with.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Guys, thank you for having me. Thanks. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed that keynote. Now, the question from it. What was your biggest new takeaway from the talk in Boise? I don't know how this became my life, but D-Rock just woke me up on a text saying we need a question of the day for the vlog. So, A, fuck me. B, question of the day. Hey guys, sitting here at the airport in Hong Kong on my way to Singapore. Wanted to tell you about a keynote I gave in Utah for my homie Sean Doris at Vid Summit. Real good stuff. Yeah. This is really made for everybody. Actually, this could be one of the more valuable daily V's, because if you consume my content on YouTube, a lot of you have aspirations to succeed in a YouTube environment, and this was clearly, and I mean clearly, a creators-oriented talk. When I give talks, a lot of my talks right now are about marketing and businesses leveraging the current state of attention. This was a very different talk, a very different Q&A. Had some good moments.
Q&A incredible.
The Q&As, D-Rock, the Q&As are always incredible, right?
Yes.
Sitting here, actually laying here on the flight from Hong Kong to Singapore. Pretty dark out there. Anyway, just jamming on my email. Hustling, trying to answer questions. That's it. It's D-Rock.
How do you feel now?
Like I've got to prep for this call in 2 minutes.
Oh, that's right, you have a call.
I work D-Rock.
Really?
Gotta have some fun on these fucking 24-hour flights or travel schedules. Anyway, nonetheless, this is a standout episode for anybody who wants to become a creator, become a YouTube channel, take advantage of the current state. And really, this is a interesting keynote that sets up Crushing It, my book coming out in January. And so I hope you enjoy it.
We can put the link right now.
Oh, we can put a link. Oh, we haven't, you know what? We have not thrown the Amazon right hook yet. You know why? Because we've been very focused on this. We've been very focused. Point again, D-Rock? Let's just, there we go. But soon we will do the Crushing It push. Anyway, watch this keynote.
All right, enjoy your Gary V time, guys.
Thank you.
You need a mic?
I think I'm mic'd. I think I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, you let me know if you need anything.
I appreciate it. Hey. It's great to see all of you. Really excited to be here and really excited to focus on a couple of different things. So I really want to go into Q&A. So where are the mics? I just want to get a sense of where the mics are. Do we have runners or do you guys have? They're going to be in the aisle? Okay, cool. So feel free to jump up at any point and get into the Q&A. I mean, really from my standpoint, this is a super unique kind of conference because there's so many people here that I know, have known for a long time back in the day, have watched from afar, cheer for to be successful. And I think it's a super interesting time for this conference to be thrown because I think for a lot of you, there's an intuitive understanding that we're in a moment in time, right? For me, I've been very lucky. I think I trade on moments in time. I knew in 1996-7 that this internet thing was gonna be something and my dad's liquor store had to take advantage of it. I knew that this email thing I mean, there's a lot of youngsters in here. How many people here were on email in 1997? Raise your hand. Awesome. So, a lot, fuck, okay. You know, I had 91% open rates on Wine Library's email service in 1997, 98, and that was me selling wine on this new thing called email that didn't cost me money to make a catalog, to send it in the mail, and it was instantaneous. The second the wine came into the store, it was out the door. It might be tough for people to understand how holy fuck that was. And it's basically the same way I feel about this entire audience right now in this moment. You know, the influencer thing has been around a long time. You know, like when I first met Q Park, like in my office years, like 6-7 years ago, and telling all these Vine kids, like, you're gonna be famous, like, this is real. I remember their feedback to me was very much like, are you sure? Like, some of them were like, yeah, but not to the level I think that I spoke to the conviction. It was only because I'd already lived that 3-4 years earlier. I started a YouTube channel in 2006, right? My wine show was there, and that was on the back of watching what happened with bloggers before video was even a thing online, or podcasts the first time it meant something, not this new iteration. This is the same old game forever, And the biggest thing that I want to get across to every single person here is regret. My entire talk right now is going to be about regret. And let me explain what I mean by that. I'm not sure that was worth a woo, but I'll take it. It is my intuition that if you don't squeeze the opportunity that's in front of all of us right now as hard as you fucking can, you will have regret. If you are smart enough and aware enough to even be here today, you are already ahead of 99% of the players in our society. I do not believe that people in this room are quantifying the fact that they even know this world exists and are willing to take the financial and time allocation to be here, how big of an advantage that is, how far along you actually are, because when you're in the system, it feels like everybody's doing it. You're amongst yourselves. The same way it felt like in 2006 and 2007 for me with Twitter and Facebook, like we all knew social media, but the world didn't. The influencers have the leverage. You have the leverage. If you're paying attention to what's going on in the world of media consumption right now, there are more buyers of content than ever. Facebook and Amazon and Google and Hulu are gonna bid for the NFL and the NBA. We are not down to 3 media companies anymore. If you understand how the chess plays out in this game, the only thing that you need to make sure is that you don't believe so much in the thing that got you here that you stay on it too long. The vulnerability to this room is one thing. You figure out YouTube or Facebook Watch or Instagram or Snapchat or something else, you win, and then you never innovate, and then when that platform declines, you decline with it. As long as everybody here is religious around creating and innovating in every channel as it evolves, and you stay in the yes business. How many people here are with brands or agencies? Raise your hand. Great, so for you guys and gals, it's about understanding how underpriced this opportunity is for brands right now, right? And just following where the underpriced nature is. YouTube influencers, when I was buying them in 2007, 8, and 9, were really fucking cheap, right? They were tens of dollars or free stuff. Not hundreds, not thousands, not tens of thousands, and not hundreds of thousands. And basically, very honestly, I have one pitch. It's the same one. It's just pattern recognition. Where's the attention of the end consumer? And where do people think it's overpriced or underpriced? Why do companies and organizations spend millions and tens of millions of dollars to produce television and film, and brands spend to sponsor it? And what's that worth? Versus me throwing dollars towards many of the faces in this room, even at numbers that they can't believe they now get, I still deem as grossly underpriced for what it is they get in return as of this moment. Even the top YouTubers and Instagram celebrities, I think, are grossly underpriced most of the time for what they give in return, which is unbelievable levels of awareness and relevancy in the world that we live in right now. I live in a world in my brain that this is the only thing that matters and basically nothing else does. I don't even own a fucking computer. Like, this is it. I run a $200 million media company. I live my life. I have not had a laptop for a year and a half. I actually had to do something the other day on a laptop, and it was not like riding a bike. I was like, what the fuck? You know? When you understand that this is it, that this is the remote control of our lives, and that 50% of the time spent on this device is on a platform that delivers content, AKA a social network, it starts getting real serious real fast. And I just want to remind everybody, it's not going back. This is only going to evolve forward. So I guess the thing that I really want to get across, A, is I want to really do Q&A because I want to answer people's direct question, because you can see my pontificating anywhere you want, anytime you want, somewhere on the web. So please take advantage of that. And B, I've watched this over and over and over again. I did it, Q did it. We have these moments when we have leadership, and then we let it get away from us because we take it for granted, and then we look back and we regret. I had leadership in YouTube and Twitter. I left YouTube for 6 years, went on Vidler, did other things, like ran a wine business. Like, this is what I'm most worried about, that you know it, that you're right, you're here right now, and you're either not working hard enough or not believing enough in how right you actually are. And so when I really thought about the talk that I would give here amongst everybody else, I just was like, fuck, I'm gonna suffocate the shit out of everybody in a very positive way. So that they understand, like, please, please, please don't look back at this talk in 3 years and be like, fuck, I wish I listened to him and I wish I did a little more work, created a little more content, took it a little bit more serious. Because for the last decade of this distribution disruption that the internet has done to our society, there have been people that have stumbled into the moment that you're in right now. You're here. And just don't realize how far ahead they are because you're stuck being used to each other. 98% of America has no idea what the fuck is going on in here. That is our opportunity. And so I think that we need to really take a step back and start thinking about a couple things. Number one, context is much more of a factor for your life than people talk about. We talk so much about content and storytelling, and that's great, but the lack of context that I see from so many of you, you take a piece of content and you think just posting it everywhere, it's going to be successful, is a huge mistake. Please do not use all the social media channels as distribution. Think smartly how to make native content within them in the same way that you're gonna act differently here than you will with your parents at dinner, than you will with your buddies on a weekend in Vegas, than you will in a business meeting with the biggest CEO in the world. You're still you, but you're slightly different in all those environments. Your content can't be successful on Facebook and YouTube the same way because they're different platforms. There is not enough religion around us creators, around context of the platform. Too much is being put just on the content, and that is a very important variable. Very, very important, so please think about that. Two, in a world where there's a lot of people that should stand up here and give the presentation over me when it comes to thumbnails and headlines and what I would call growth hacking, it's super important, but I feel like everybody here is either grounded in it or knows its importance and will continue to try to learn those tactics. The one thing that I'm seeing from a lot of creators in this room specifically and outside, similar to a lot of the creators in here, is they are getting so growth hack oriented that it's manipulating and diluting the actual story, and it's just about hacking and getting the numbers, which is great for the short term, but is the reason so many people have lost in the long term, because they become mathematical machines and their story becomes less authentic and they become a caricature of themselves that are basically pandering to the growth in the category they want to be successful in. This has been the single reason I feel like I've had continuous success, because I just stay kind of in my thing, and if it works at the time at YouTube or Instagram or Snapchat, mazel tov, and if it doesn't, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people having more followers or making more money, because I know when I deviate, you have only a chapter instead of an entire career. So I implore so many of you, I understand, especially hanging out with everybody here, it's like, oh, you have 4 million fucking subscribers? Like, you know, all that shit, I get it. It gets very competitive. We're humans, I get it. But please do me a favor. Please, please, please be religious to hold on to your truths and your stories, because when you start diluting from that, you start beginning the process of you becoming irrelevant. It's important. You like that one? It's good, right?
You like that one? It's good, right?
Got an interesting one that I thought would be a good theme for everybody. We need to ask more. I get so many emails and DMs from so many of you of like, how? The answer is ask more. How do you get brand deals? Email every brand on earth. I mean this. You know, I know some of you have seen like me talk about like Instagram DM. Like, I'm getting 50 emails a week from people that, same basic title, doing the Instagram DM changed my fucking life. A stunning thing happens when you ask. Somebody says yes. So I think one of the biggest things that is happening in this room when I think about it is that people's egos are getting in their way. The feelings of getting hurt when somebody says no hurts your ego so much that it stops you from even asking in the first place. It is stunning to me how much I like when people say no. I prefer when people say no. I tend to bounce into different industries in my career because once I become big in one and it becomes easy to say yes, I hate it. So, there's a lot of fucking fancy people in here who think they're bigger than they actually are. And so I highly recommend that you check your fucking ego at the door because it's the substantial aspect that's holding you back from your next chapter. So please, please, please start asking more DM, more email, and 5149. When you're reaching out to somebody that you want something from, it's a good idea to start with what you're gonna do for them. I'm aware that you want a $100,000 sneaker deal. I get it. The fuck's in it for the sneaker, right? So don't take for granted subscribers or comments. Be thoughtful, understand what they're about, pay attention, do your homework, listen, pay attention to what they're doing on social. 30 minutes of homework can articulate a far better way to have a conversation with somebody that you want something from. Thanks, Mom. Distribution. Do not become completely vulnerable to YouTube or Facebook. This is imperative. This is super duper one of the biggest things that people make a mistake of. Win there, but always have 20% of your energy on testing new things, even when you feel you don't have any more time because you're working so hard to do the thing. Because the reality is, all I'm doing right now, if you go back and watch this talk, all I'm doing right now is systematically breaking down the things that I've watched for the last 10 years that have stopped people from succeeding. It's been, it's all these little subtle things that I'm dropping on you right now. These are the things that stop you from succeeding, which is what I spend all my time on, right? Stop the vulnerabilities. All of us are on a boat with a bunch of holes, and you're just putting your finger in all of them. I'm just trying to give you the cliche ones that I and all of you are going through, and it's just universal, and it will be forever. One of the great things is listen, especially for this group, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, these are just imperative monsters until they're not. And what has been stunning to me, for example, here's something stunning to me. It is stunning to me of how smart this room is, right? I just said, look, 98% doesn't know, you're here, this is real in here. And how many of you have stopped doing Snapchat? I laugh at your lack of skill. And here's what I mean by that harsh statement. Most under 30-year-olds are living on Snapchat, one way or the other. The data's very clear. It's not like, you could be sitting there and be like, not true, me and my 3 friends aren't on it anymore. That's nice, Karen. I'm talking about big data. I'm talking about the user numbers. I don't give a fuck that you don't anymore, or your neighbor said something, or the 13-year-old girl down the street said it's dead. I don't give a fuck. I care about the macro data, and the macro data shows very clearly that there's hundreds of millions of fuckers on this platform, and just because Instagram stole its features, which, by the way, they didn't steal their features. Features are not IP, that's business. Everybody here stole a ton of shit from Casey, and so, it's not about stealing, it's about features, great. But there's I'm giving you little tidbits, there's a huge opportunity for so many of you, because I live on supply and demand of attention. And when a lot of people left Snapchat to only focus on Instagram stories, because why should I do 2 things? It's easier to do one, or whatever other fancy reason you made up that call, it left a white space for enormous opportunity, and I highly recommend Shonduras comes out of retirement and starts drawing again, and a million other things. And so these are the things that fascinate me. Becoming too one-dimensional, not creating content native for the platform, and the thing that most is running through my mind, which is I'm trying to get into the mind of this audience. When you have the ambition, AKA the audacity, to have your living be you just living, not having enough time is not an excuse. The people that have been sitting here and saying well, how the fuck am I, I'm already, want to get paid hundreds of thousands and or millions of dollars a year running around the earth. You have to quantify how amazing that is. It's obnoxious that it's actually a real thing. Like, if you go read the Amazon reviews of my first book, Crush It, that came out in 2009, where I talked about all this, people were like, get the fuck out of here. Nobody's gonna pay people to like do things on a device. Like, it was so ridiculous. That's only 8 years ago, right? So please understand the obnoxious level of audacity that we have to be interesting enough to get paid to just do, and please then deploy the work ethic that is needed to actually pull this off. The biggest fear I have is for the people that are actually having success, because complacency kicks in and you just get into pattern recognition. There's a lot of you here that are winning. And the thing that I'm really most passionate about is making sure you're challenging yourself. There's so much more to do with what you're doing, but it's only gonna be incremental. You're only gonna get paid a little more to speak. You're only gonna sell a little more merch. You're only gonna get a bigger deals a little bit more. It's still being creative. Like, to me, one of the big things with video creators that I'm really trying to challenge is to start paying attention to voice a lot more. I think a lot of you, and again, I know a lot of you, and I've watched a lot of people that used the hashtag last night, and thanks for the dude that offered me a drink, but I wasn't here. But a lot of you, when I went down the rabbit hole on my flight yesterday just to get a sense, so many of you could be so successful in podcast form, but you haven't even gone there. So many of you could create such an incredible Alexa skill or an Alexa briefing that can change the opportunity for you. Guys, as somebody who was there from day one of YouTube is mature. Instagram is mature. The next land grabs, the things that get you from 0 to hero, are staring you directly in the face right now. The problem is some level of your success is stopping you from allocating time to take the chance on the new thing that can disproportionately leapfrog you 3 or 4 spots. So please, let's keep challenging ourselves. Please, let's understand what's actually happening here. Please understand how much of a ridiculous advantage you have right now and how much more you need to squeeze. Please understand every 13-year-old in the world wants to be you, so supply and demand is coming. Everybody's gonna do this, which means you've gotta be disproportionately better in the next year or two. So just like coders and developers got paid a lot, and right now all their parents want their kids to be developers, which means it's actually gonna be commoditized and they're gonna get paid a lot less. Same for us. There's not a 15-year-old in this fucking country that doesn't have this job as one of their first 1 or 2 things they wanna do, which means it's going to be harder because the brands and the AdSense and the merch is gonna get split between 83 million people instead of 8.3 million people. Got it? And you're only so cute and charismatic, Sean Doris. So that's the state of the union of this space. I would love for people to start lining up for questions because I'd like to get into more details, so please do that. And when I see enough, good, looks like we're gonna get there quickly, we'll get into it. And I know a lot of you came out for this event because I talked about it and I saw a lot of the tweets ahead of time, and I just want you guys to know I'm ridiculously humbled and thankful for the attention and the admiration, and I really, 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 really have a lot of heart for this community, and I thank you for having me. Thanks. Okay, let's get into the good shit.
First of all, thank you. And I know you've inspired a bunch of us here. You talk about regret and you talk about not doing shit. And I'm here, I'm a small guy. I own 2 small businesses in Austin, Texas.
Yep.
I want to get better.
Good.
I know that this is an opportunity to be
Yep.
first in line.
Yes.
With about 800 people.
Yep.
I'll do whatever I have to do to go to New York, even if it's scrub your floors with my toothbrush. Is that at all a possibility? And
well, you could definitely come and scrub our floors with a toothbrush.
Okay. Are you gonna?
What's the second part?
The second part is I just want to get better, and I know by doing that I have to learn from the best. I've been following you. I don't even want to follow you. I just want to follow your team. I'm a creator, and I'm just asking for that.
Cool. So Ryan, do me a favor.
Yes,
Email
sir.
Gary at VaynerMedia.
Yes, sir.
In the title, put, I'm Ryan, I'm the first guy that talked at the event today. I talked about toothbrush, this, that, the other thing. And in January, I'll let you come and spend a week with the team.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Gary, sir, thank you.
How are you,
Thank you.
Ilya?
I am awesome.
Good, man.
Hey, I watched a video about a year and a half ago or so,
Okay.
and my channel has less than 400 subscribers, but I hit it with
400
depth.
more than 0.
Yeah, that's true. I hit it with depth because I heard you talking about depth versus width, and that alone allowed me to make over $250,000 just within my niche. So my question to you is,
And real quick, I'm going to stop you. I apologize. This is super important. So many people are so caught up in width, and Ilya did a good job and understood depth. Like, there's so many people that have so many more followers than me, and their book comes out, and they sell 1,000 copies. Or when they're the headliner of a conference, half the people show up that is expected because of how many followers they have, which doesn't allow them to command the price they want for speaking. Or when they make merch, because Logan and Jake are making a lot, they sell a lot less. Depth is massively important, and the number one issue in this room is the way you're taking your audience for granted. The amount of you that I audited yesterday that have never replied to a comment in YouTube or Instagram is baffling and utterly disappointing. Right on is right. It's real, you know, because at some level, you know, it's one thing if you want fame or the perception of fame and that gets you off, and like, great, do it. Then you should be about the numbers. But so many of you here want to pay your college debt off or live the life that you want or make generational wealth that your grandkids have it. It's going to be about the depth. Dude's got 400 fucking subscribers, made $250,000. Now maybe what he was selling or have you, it's different. I get it, but that needs to be something that people wrap their head around. I'm just stunned. Like every day I get comments from people like, I can't believe you reply or how much time you put into your audience. And every single time I get that, I say to myself, I can't believe how much you guys don't.
but just want to say again, thank you so much. Also, some of the people that I work with, my clients, they're your followers too. It would be super awesome if I could take a picture with you when.
For sure.
Would it be possible for me to come up on the stage and do that?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
You got it.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome, bro.
Oh, you got to turn it around.
I've heard.
If you could press the button for me, thank you, sir.
You got it.
Gary, thank
Take
you.
care.
Special.
Yes, sure. What's up, my man?
Gary, my brother, thank you so much. Consumed a lot of your content, and it's really shaped a large portion of how we're running our business right now, so thank you.
You're welcome.
My question, we are a jump rope fitness company, so you type in jump rope into YouTube, jump rope, it's just all us. We
Right.
basically own that niche.
Love it, okay.
And so we're thinking long term for a business.
Yeah.
Are we better off, really, we're already selling jump ropes,
Yep.
so we basically own the information around people want to buy jump ropes. Should we keep going into just selling jump ropes and jump rope digital products, or how do you feel about brand integrations, advertising on our videos? Like for us, sometimes it feels like
I got
let's
a good
turn
answer for you.
advertisements off.
Yeah, I get it. So expansion is when brands get diluted. So the first question I would ask you is, how much revenue is your jump rope business doing, and how big is the overall jump rope business industry? How long have you had the company?
2 years.
Right. My intuition is you still don't have a big enough portion of the jump rope world. And so probably there's a lot more to expand before you go into other things. But this is back to why I couldn't have gotten luckier with the 2 questions in a row. So cool. I just got off my high horse of saying I communicate with you and engage, right? And like made you feel bad that you don't. What's really scary is I do it because I'm selfish. The reason I engage with all of you is because I read everything you say so that I can get better insights to what to do next. So your answer to your question, like I'm super smart, fine. Your community will tell you. You just need to ask. I mean it, man. The answer is literally in your comments. You just got to take the 18 hours of fucking asking.
All right, appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Got it. You got it.
Gary.
Yo.
What's up, man? Danny
Life is
Gould,
good.
selling Silicon Valley. We chatted at Relentless.
I remember.
Yeah, asked you the question, on a macro scale how to drive my real estate blog, right?
I remember.
But now I want to ask you about the micro.
Okay.
The local. Because for me right now, obviously Silicon Valley, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of baby boomers, a lot of
I'm looking at something to answer your question,
yeah,
so keep
totally.
going.
A lot of older folks.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Who, obviously when you sell real estate, you have to list to last, right? So getting these sellers to engage with content or to view it, right?
I'm listening.
So, in terms of the older generation, right? A lot of these people aren't on some of these platforms that we're talking about, right?
Yep.
So how do because I'm coming to you because I've thought about this for a long time. How would you recommend
Selling homes to older people?
Well, no. Getting in front of these older people in a digital, on the digital platform.
So look, he's generalizing. Don't beat him up. So.
Well, yeah, I know, but
So look, I think to both of your points, you're both right. He's right. I mean, there's always demo. There is not a high usage of 60 to 80-year-olds on Snapchat. Not just real data, and so, couple things. Number one, Facebook does not have that issue. When I look at conversion on Facebook, 55 to 70-year-old conversions on Facebook are just incredible. There's so much attention, there's so much scale, they're going through it more carefully, and I'm a very big fan. So if you haven't run 5-mile radiuses from your open houses on Facebook to that demo of 50 to 75-year-olds or 35 to 75-year-olds with $100,000 income levels or greater,
right.
Have you run Facebook ads aggressively against that?
I have.
So then the issue is you're creative. Right. I'm gonna leave here right now and go to a Berkshire Hathaway real estate pitch
that's us.
For Vayner, and the data is very clear.
Gino?
So I think first you have to look at your creative, right? Is your creative hitting the note? If you're in it, you know the issue with real estate. There's a lot of people at high net worth that are gonna look at you and say you're too young and inexperienced and not go with you. I lived it my whole life. Now I'm finally going to the other side, so it kind of fucking sucks, but I get it. I understand that. So that's one thing to look at. I'd also highly recommend going down the rabbit hole of Nextdoor. So have you looked at Nextdoor?
I have, yes.
So I'm super intrigued by that platform from a real estate standpoint. I think there's super hardcore opportunity. And then finally, if I were you, I would do the third thing is I would put 50% of my energy, if you want them, to go old school and door-to-door, direct mail. Just because this is happening doesn't mean we need to force everybody into that behavior. I never give a fuck what you're doing. I'm just trying to figure out what you're doing. I don't have any horse in the race whether you do VR or Snapchat or Vine. Q and I loved Vine, but then it changed. I don't know, it is what it is. Fuck it. So I would spend a lot more time in traditional than you probably are.
Cool. Thanks, Gary.
You got it. Hey, man.
How's it going, Gary?
Really well.
So when looking to dissect a new social media platform to
Yes.
figure out how to be successful, what are
Yes.
some big picture and practical tips you can use to dissect that?
Big picture is I would download every social network that appears on the top 150 free apps in America every time, create a username, and start tasting it. And then micro picture is start creating content for it and seeing and use your other social channels to drive people to it to see what happens. So how many people here are trying to figure out what to do with Marco Polo? Right, so that's interesting. What is happening there? How are you using it? Can you get 50 of your users to be part of a group with you there? So big picture, Zane, is literally wake up every morning and look at the top 150 apps in the App Store, pick the 3 or 4 new social networks that come every quarter, every year, download them, create your account, start making content, and then go to the channels that you have audience and drive them there and test and learn. Look, somebody landed here eventually, way back when, and looked at a bush with some berries on it, right? What was the strategy? Somebody ate it. Right. Some dudes died, others found strawberries. And so that's what you have to do with new social networks. Social Cam took a lot of my time. Social Cam took a lot of my time in 2011. Anybody remember social cam in that 5 minutes? Right? 5 minutes, right? It was number one. It was like the thing. It came and went in like 3 months. I put a lot of effort to build audience there. It failed. But what I learned about mobile video on social cam became the reason that I was able to be successful at Vine and Snapchat and Instagram. And I wasn't even successful as a creator on Vine. I just got close to the creators that were successful. But then without that social cam 3 months, I wouldn't have had the IP of the dynamics of video in that environment to make me successful. I highly recommend. So many of you are in the no business. I don't need another social network. It's gonna take away from what I'm focused on. What if it goes in and out of fashion fast? What if it's the next Vine? It doesn't matter. What matters is the IP and the learning and the land grab while it's there. If monkey's big for 3 weeks, you can do damage there. Got it? That's the answer, Zane.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Jay.
Two things. One, I saw you a couple years ago in New York, and your fitness plan's working for you. You're looking good. Nice
Thanks,
job.
brother.
Two is, I run a digital agency since I was young. I started when I was 17. It's grown year over year for 20 years.
Amazing.
We cut our teeth on websites, but I've got this gut feeling that websites are kind of becoming billboards. And so the
different.
last 6 to 12 months, I work Northeast Florida.
That being said, Jay, guys, actually, it's weird that you said that. Yes, but.
Yeah.
I actually think one of the biggest vulnerabilities in this entire audience collectively is the lack of a proper website collecting first-party data that you can remarket to. Everybody's living so on all these platforms, they're not driving to their own domain where they're captured. I mean, my email list does damage. You know, it may not be what email was years ago, but I've been trying to make it better and better, and it sucked for a while, but now we figured out, like, fuck, really give exclusive content, like, really make it good, and it does damage. So, yes, but ironically, the amount of people here who should have a Squarespace or an About.me or build a WordPress for themselves and own their URL is quite high.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the website's kind of still the hub for us, but we're working on kind of building the spokes out of the wheel.
I understand.
And probably the last 12 months or so, we really started to pivot a lot harder towards video, marketing, communication, all those kind of things. A lot of it thanks to you. We're in Northeast Florida, so technologically wise, we're just a little bit, it's not New York City, it's not San Francisco, it's that kind of thing. So if you're me, you've got a 12-person team, you're growing, but you're looking to the future. Where are you going? What are you focused on? Okay.
If I started VaynerMedia today, I would call it Vayner Voice. And we would be an Alexa, Google Home, Apple Pod, and podcast infrastructure shop. Voice is the next frontier.
Yeah, and I just started a podcast.
Video is about to get arbitraged by voice. Like some of your views are about to go away because somebody's gonna be listening to something. Because you can do two things when you listen.
Yeah, and I just started a weekly podcast actually probably 2 months ago thanks to that advice, so
I'm glad.
we're working on it.
I would go hardcore into that.
Okay, cool, thanks Gary.
Take care, Jay.
Hey Gary.
How are you?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
Great.
First of all, thank you for everything. I've been following you for a while and really appreciate it.
Thanks.
I have a marketing company that I started when I was much younger.
Okay.
Now we're doing web
when
design.
When you were 6 or?
Yeah, about.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We're actually working with some Fortune 500s now, so we're growing. And yeah, you know, one of our service lines that's been really profitable for us and we have a high retention rate on is reputation management.
Yes, of course.
So I know there are some big players out there and we're going up against them now. But our retention rate is crazy high. We're very effective at what we do, and we're scalable. We've built it out in a way. So my question for you is, I'm really looking for ways to grow large quantities and scale as big as fast as possible. We're growing, because we're growing year by year already, and I want to see how big I can take this and how quickly I can take it as big as possible.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The only way you can do that is either raise money or start taking a lot less money personally.
Okay. I've already started on the second.
Good.
But as far as investors, I've been approached before, but I'm looking for a more strategic investor, someone who would know what to do in this space. And most people are, you know, people in real estate or family who see the opportunity, but they won't be able to really help me.
Smart money. You want smart money.
Are you looking to invest?
I'm not.
Okay. Had to ask.
You gotta ask, right?
Yeah.
Look, I think you need to decide between smart money and passive money.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a really good piece of advice. In 2001 and 2, when I lived through the business world. And in 2007, 6, and 8, when I lived through the business world, I had a lot of friends that were looking for smart money.
Okay.
And then the market crashed, and they were looking for money, and there was none to be had. Just keep that in mind.
Okay. And what would you do with the money? Where would be the avenues you would hit?
I don't know, it's your fucking business, bro. Like all I heard from you was you want to get bigger, faster, sooner. I asked why, because I think usually when people's agenda is to get bigger, faster, I usually know that they're in trouble.
Okay.
The way to get bigger is to go slower.
All right, thank you.
You got it. And just expand on that, just because not to leave it with like a ching, you know. Everybody's in such a rut. You know, young, Alan, how old are you, bro? Alan, how are you? How old? 27. That's the thing, right? Like, to me, his advantage is his youth, which should allow him to go slower, not faster. And I get it. Everybody wants to win. I get it. But I know one thing that you guys hear from me more than most people talk about it is patience. I know it's the secret sauce. Life is long. And when you want to get bigger for the sake of bigger, you start taking shortcuts that lead to vulnerabilities. So I just would keep that in mind. Hi.
Hey, Gary, aloha. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. So I'm a complete newbie to this space. I was one of the 98%. I just hopped on about 2 months ago.
Cool.
My audience that I serve or I wish to serve are entrepreneurs who struggle to get started.
Yep.
And so I'm building that group in these platforms. And I don't really have much. I'm building Instagram first. And then from there, then my offer would be, you know, whether I'm affiliate marketing something or selling courses and whatnot. So that's sort of my vision right now. Or I'm also building network marketing companies because I do like network marketing. And so
Why?
is there it's just leverage. I don't know. It's for fun.
Okay.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Not as much of a fan.
Okay.
But, you know, just one man's point of view. Just curious
Yeah.
why. I think the reason you like it is because there's quicker dollars in.
Right now, there's no dollars at all. But I think I like I don't know. It's just an interesting little challenge to see if I can actually grow a
Do your
little
thing.
organization.
Look, I think when somebody decides to get into content and creative, and already before they started, they are thinking about the monetization of affiliate or network or things of that nature, you're set up to fail. And so what I would tell you to do if I had the chance, which I do, is to take a step back and realize, you know, creating content to motivate people to start is a crowded space, a forever space because people don't act, I get it. But what I'm worried about as a newbie is this is such a cliche story, right? I'm gonna build an audience and I'm gonna monetize it for me. And what happens is when you start, before you start, you're thinking about monetization, like how will it happen when it happens? What that does is something very interesting. It creates the wrong kind of content. When the seed is about long-term monetization, the seed is corroded. And there's an element of that in all of the content. No question, my biggest advantage in the marketplace is the lack of interest of monetizing my audience. You need to think about that.
What other, is there another angle I should be looking at this coming into this?
Yeah, I think the angle is to blindly try to bring value to the audience, whether it's information or entertainment, and then wake up in 6 years and start to then debate what the fuck to do with it.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're
I'll
welcome.
Get on that. Thank you. Aloha.
Hey Gary, so I've been watching you for about 6 months now.
Thank you.
But over the last year and a half, I've been building an Instagram and I've got about 500,000 followers. But since I've been watching you, I've seen probably a triple in growth just from implementing different things. I just kind of put you on my nightstand at night and I just kind of listen to you.
Thank you, man.
And that's,
happy to be there.
I mean, so it's really exciting.
It's better than yesterday. Guys, like, listen, I listen to you all the time when I'm in the shower. I'm like, cool.
No, I can say I haven't done that yet. But
Go ahead.
What I really wanted to ask you is I've been building this platform because I'm a firm believer that you have to have an audience to hear you, and I'm a singer before you release something if you really want to create momentum.
I agree.
So
it's less it's momentum, but more importantly, no, it's leverage.
Yeah, and that's what we're kind of going for, because we know you can go into labels now, and I feel confident if we win now, we wouldn't get as good a deal as if we went in with the leverage like that.
You know what's happening in the hip hop space, right? Put out projects, put out mixtapes, have leverage, have millions of followers, and then get the kind of deal that you think you want. By the way, you might be the last of the Mohicans that even give a shit to even have a deal.
And that's kind of, my manager's in the audience. I actually told him, I want to live every day thinking that I'm not going to get a deal at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
So do that.
And that's kind of the game plan
That's not fully where you're at right now.
No, but coming into this time and season where I'm releasing my first single, what would be your strategy? Because I'm heavy on Instagram. I'm not so much on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm branching out. I started doing that about a month ago.
Do you have a Spotify and SoundCloud now?
I don't have either account really set up. This is our first time go at it. But yeah.
You need to do that, right? Yeah. And start populating it. One thing that I think is really interesting is populating an artist's SoundCloud and Spotify with content of them speaking about their thoughts before they launch their first song. And then you could start siphoning, because think about it. You're building this audience on Instagram. How many are on Instagram now?
About 500,000.
Right. So come 3 months from now, tomorrow, whenever it drops, it's going to be the first time you're going to ask that audience to go over there. Whereas if you had 3 or 4 months of getting them to go over there with the journey of your mindset before the launch of the first album, you'll have a much bigger base that will create virality instantaneously for you when you drop the song there.
So you think that...
The big thing I did with Crush It that was very unusual, I apologize, but I want to give this to everybody. The big thing I did with Crush It that was super unusual for booksellers in 2008 was I pre-sold it for 4 months before it came out. The conventional wisdom back then was you have your blowout week, right? You go on the Today Show and Huffington Post and you push and you email. And I asked one question in my early meeting with HarperCollins, which was, do all the sales count if I get them in pre-order on Amazon that week I get them or the week the book comes out? And they go, the week the book comes out. So I'm like, one more time. So if I get 8 this week and 19 next week and 47 next week, and they're like, yeah, it all counts. So I'm like, why don't people do that? Because we lived in a traditional world of you go on television and you get your orders. That's how I'm thinking about you. I know that artists now don't turn their SoundCloud or Spotify into a podcast for 3 months before the first song, which is exactly why it's a good fucking idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never seen that done on Spotify before, but I've seen it done on SoundCloud.
No, this is the shit I do. We make shit up.
That's what I've been doing for a few months, and it's how I came up with my viral video content, and now
100%. So that's what I would do.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey Gary.
Hey man.
I'm with the small agency, and we spend a lot of our time trying to think of industries and verticals that we want to get in on the ground level of. And I know you're on Voice right now, and you're talking about that a lot.
Yes.
But going through about 1.5 years worth of your content, you mentioned esports a lot.
I'm a fan.
But I wanted to get your opinion on what do you think of esports from a marketing standpoint and also from a VC standpoint? I
think from a VC standpoint, it's super dangerous because there's a lot of bullshit out there. And I think that the IP game makers and the players have the leverage, and there's a lot of people building businesses in between that are going to be vulnerable unless they're run by very talented people, and they'll be not as valuable as they're being priced. From a marketing standpoint, I think it's grossly underpriced attention, and that brand should spend a fuckload more money on esports.
And do you see a possibility of an outside marketing firm partnering with an esports team and just doing all their content, or do you think 100%. It has to be in-house?
No, I think if you guys are debating esports as a place to go hard at, it will become fruitful for you if you're good at it.
All right, thanks, man.
You got it.
Real quick, shout out to D-Rock.
D-Rock.
Yeah. Hey Gary, how's it going?
It is going super well, bro.
Well, nice to meet you. I'm Parker Panel.
Hey, Parker.
I just turned 14 years old, and when you were my age, what were you doing to make money and really crush it?
What grade are you in?
8th grade.
So in 8th grade, I started my first real business. I was in 8th grade. I was making $1,000 to $2,000 a weekend, once a month, selling baseball cards in the malls of New Jersey.
Awesome.
Because I don't know if you know this, bro, but there was no internet when I was 14. And so, it's real fucking easy for you to make money. It was much harder for us old folk, but we got by.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Before you leave, bro.
Oh, yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Well, I'm an actor, and I started my YouTube channel a few days ago. Was my 1 year, and I do a bunch of comedy videos. And my family, my dad's over there. He's
What up,
videoing me.
Dad? Good to see you,
And
man.
we travel all the time. So we were just in Dubai and the Maldives, and I video my adventures there. And I really want to entertain people so they can get out and kind of do what you do and really change the world and motivate them in a good way.
Good for you, brother. I'm
Yeah.
wishing you luck.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Right. So I feel terrible that I have to follow that. Thanks, Parker.
Yeah, you're fucked, Roberta.
Shit. Pretty much. Like, what else is new, right?
Yeah.
So how's it going, Gary?
Really well. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, man. So for context, I'm a creative entrepreneur, and a lot of what I do on YouTube is I try to help people not be starving artists. I try to walk them through what I did that worked, what I did that didn't, why it sucks sometimes. And my question to you right now is for all of those people. It's, what do you see being the disproportionate vulnerability for creatives and creative entrepreneurs? Because right now I know you're doing your Vayner Creative Initiative.
Yep.
You're someone who's in the hiring chair.
Yep.
So for all the creatives out there, for all the people, whether they're
Yep.
YouTube or Snapchat
Yep.
or whether they're drawing, what do you think right now
Is the big vulnerability.
What are they underestimating?
That they're not good at business.
That pretty much sums it up. But
I mean, the biggest vulnerability, Roberto, is that some people are such extreme just artists that they don't have the humility in the face of entrepreneurship being cool to team up and have a partner who can drive the actual business.
So ultimately your answer is they need to either, one, invest some time in getting good at this if they have the potential that they never tapped, or
I think
outsource it because it's a weakness.
You know me well. We've known each other a long time. I only think that I can get only incrementally better at swimming and singing and painting.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is so cool right now and such a pedestal and has no cost of entry. Every person here can put the word entrepreneur in their Instagram profile. I'm aware. And there's just a fundamental difference between a successful entrepreneur and somebody who says they are. And there's a lot of people here that are unbelievable creatives who will lose because they're spending disproportionate time trying to be good at something that will never happen instead of putting 100% of their effort in the creative process. The fact that we're blending, listen, there's people like Sean Doris who is absolutely, and the reason I attached to him and always gave him mentorship, I'm like, cool, this guy's creative and an entrepreneur. But there's a lot of people in here who want to be an entrepreneur, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs in here that want to be a creator, and that is the vulnerability. The lack of self-awareness and the utter delusion in what they want instead of what is real.
Boom. Thanks, Gary.
Great to see you.
Hi, Gary.
Hi.
I'm Sarah Beth from Sarah Beth Yoga, and I used to be all about that hustle. I used to work 80-hour weeks and happily would work 80-hour weeks.
Good.
So I guess my issue now is that, so I have a kid and I have another on the way, and so I'm much more focused on my time management. And
you should.
Earlier you mentioned when you say you don't have time, I don't really have the time anymore.
I get it.
So I was purposeful about staying on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram.
I get it.
But I hear you about expanding my brand and reaching out to other platforms. How?
Look, I think I'm very empathetic. Look, even if you're the greatest hustler that ever lived, I don't know if you've heard, it's still only 24 hours in a day, right? So here's what I would say, Sarah. I would say that there's nothing wrong with staying deep on Facebook and Google platforms. Facebook and Google rule the digital world. And there's nothing even remotely close that's happening that is going to change that narrative for the next 24 to 48 months intuitively, right? So I'm, in a world where you have your second coming and all those things that are going on in your life, I'm not so desperate for you to have to do other things right now, knowing that Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are going nowhere fast, right?
Right.
I think when I say to a lot of people in this room, find more time, it's as long as your ambition is in check to your actions, you're good, right? You want to be the best mom you can be, you want to be a creator, you want to be an entrepreneur, that's awesome. The biggest rub that I have is you have a lot of people saying that they're going to build billion-dollar empires and they're working 9 hours a day, and that's not going to map, right? So it's not that I want you to spend more time, as long as you're like, hey, I want to make, my ambition is to make it's hard if you're gonna mother and not outsource that to a full-time nanny to have the time and energy to build a $100 million media company around yourself. It's gonna be hard. As long as you're cool and understand like, hey, maybe that's $1 million instead of $100 million because rightfully you're choosing to allocate raising your wonderful children, then you're good. It's the delusion that I'm worried about. It's that people's mouths are way ahead of their actions. Got it?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, bro.
How's your day been?
Doing really good, CJ. How are you?
Good. Okay, so I just turned 13, and I was
Awesome.
wondering, I've been doing YouTube for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And the first year, I didn't really get anything done.
I get
but
it.
up until this
Get
summer.
anything done as it didn't get traction, or you were bullshitting playing video games?
Second, both of them.
Both.
So, but then this summer,
This
I started
summer?
to get more I quit video games and I got a better view time and attraction.
Yep.
But I'm still I'm at 142 right now, so I'm wondering what's one tip you have for kids my age?
142 meaning what?
142 subs.
Got it. So what do you want to happen, CJ?
I just want to get at least 300 by the end of the year.
Okay, well, first of all, we'll take care of that. Right? So now what?
Just to inspire people.
Good. So if you want to inspire people, if that's real, right? If that's really what you're about, then you don't need to do anything but continue to put out the content that you think will do that.
Thank you.
I think the reason I said we'll take care of that is what I don't want you to do that so many people do, whether they're 13
Look out the
or
numbers.
81. So many people get into the rat race of how many followers they have, right? And that's just not the game that you want to play. Do you know what I mean? Because the reality is that that's going to dictate too many actions. You can't let your self-esteem or self-worth be wrapped up into metrics on YouTube because it's one tiny proxy in the reality of what you're up to. You understand?
No.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're gonna throw a right hook right now. What's the name of your channel, CJ?
CJ Bowling.
Spell it.
CJ-BOLING.
Slower, because you want them to actually fucking follow you. CJ.
BOLING.
BOLING. It would really mean a whole lot to me if I've given you 1 inch of value ever in my life for you to follow this kid. Let's see how many followers he has on YouTube by the end of this weekend.
Can I get a picture?
Yeah. Get in here, Siege. Come here. Good luck, brother. You're welcome. Hey, I've only got a couple more minutes, just trying to be fair to the people in line. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get to you, but we'll see how long they let me sit up here. Go ahead, my man.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, Doug.
I'm one of the 99 or 100% of the people that before today, my wife has been beating me up to listen to you just once.
Yes.
I kept
fighting it.
Yes, I kept
You're
fighting
like, fuck that guy.
I
get it. I get it. I know how you roll, Doug.
And she tells me that I think she's rude to me. I should wait until I meet you, that you're gonna beat it up with me. I want to ask you, I finally jumped into what she's doing. I want to know what I need to do to stay on focus, on track, and stay motivated,
To me,
every day.
Generally?
Yes, she blogs about food. She developed food recipes and everything, and she's
But
got
you're
to-
asking for you, how you stay focused?
Yes.
Look, I think, listen, some of you have heard this from me. This is such a big one for me. I've said it in a funny setting, and I've said it other times. I just really wish people knew that they were gonna die. Devin, how can you not stay motivated? Do you know that the odds of becoming a human being are 400 trillion to 1?
No.
Well, great. Sit on that shit for a minute. We are so unbelievably lacking perspective and are so not grateful for what's happening here. We so focus on negativity and shit that's bothering us. We need to spend way more time on optimism and good and all the good things that are happening. That will motivate. I am completely driven by gratitude. Every true day that I don't get a text or phone call that somebody I love died or has terminal illness, I'm fucking pumped. So it's perspective, Deb. Like, the fuck do you have to complain about?
No, I don't complain. I want to make sure I'm moving from the industry that I was in into what she's doing, because she has become very successful.
It's regret, man. Like, you don't want to be 80 sitting and saying, fuck, I spoke to Gary, my wife did it, this happened, and I didn't do shit. What the fuck? Listen, I'm going to give you guys a huge, huge, unbelievable hack. One day, 1 hour, go and volunteer in a nursing home. It is the great move that everybody here can do. First of all, it's just nice to do that. And you give back, and it's tremendous, and it's unbelievably impactful. Number two, thank you. Number two, you will get way more because you're gonna see something that you haven't seen in such a pure state. It's called regret. You will face regret in a way that will fuck with you so hard that you will stay focused and on track for the rest of your fucking life. The number one thing that you will taste if you go to a nursing home is you will find multiple people that will talk to you about regrets in a way that will pierce your soul in a way that you've never felt before, because they're actually in that place where time has run out. And it will make you go back home and start cooking for the first time, starting a video, running. Like, you'll start doing shit that you've been pondering for the last decade after 1 hour of giving back, putting karma points in the bag, and it will be hugely beneficial for you. So please, please, please consider that.
Thank you so very much.
All right, Gary. Regrets. We don't want to have them. We have 2 more days of Vid Summit, of almost a full more day here. I still got to speak, so I'll wrap up all the big important stuff after you're done. But what should these guys be doing for the next 48 hours so they don't have regrets?
That's a great question. So the reason I think these things are good have nothing to do with the content on this stage. This is the number one time to start putting your introvert self on the shelf, to expand your ability to network. This is 100% ROI successful for you if you legitimately go up to people you've never seen before in your life, say hello, and ask them what they're about. This is only about networking. Like, you should actually all leave and come to none of the talks going forward.
Except for mine.
Including his, and network the whole time. I'm serious, guys, all the real magic is, with the best talk of the conference, with the third best talk of the conference, all of that stuff is so stunningly secondary to you getting 5 to 7 to 15 relationships here. And let me tell you something, karma is practical. I just said it in my last little thing, doing the right thing for CJ. It's just super smart to do shit that has no expectation in return or anything to do. We're in a world where a lot of thoughts of collaborations and things you do, you're thinking about what comes to you after you do. Giving without expectation has been one of the core pillars of my success.
Love it, there it is.
You lived it for me. Like, it's a big fucking deal. Please do it.
It really is. All right, I'm going to share with you guys one pro tip I have. I've gone to 1 million of these conferences and talked to so many people, networked until I became friends with Gary, and this is how I did it. When you go to a conference, you don't hang out with your friends, the people that live in your state, anyone else. You talk to as many people you've never met before, and here's the thing. This is going to be weird because I probably talked to you guys yesterday and this exact same thing happened, where it's like, hey, how are you? What do you do? What's your jam? Learn about you. That's so cool. Like, get a good read on someone, become friends, follow them on Twitter, whatever, and then it's, dang, is there food around here? I'm looking for food right now. Who heard me say that yesterday? I literally go around looking for food, talking to people, 5-minute conversation, become friends, then go look for food. Oh, I need to get a drink. Where's Holiday at? And you go talk to someone else. Get that 5-minute friendship in, and then, oh man, so I've been looking for food. Is there food around here? And then you walk off looking for food and go get that next conversation. Like, I want everyone to end their conversation with, I'm looking for food, and go talk to someone new. Talk to everyone in this conference, because Vid Summit 2017 is lit. I'm not gonna doubt. All right, that's the end, guys. Have a great lunch. Go find food. Talk to everyone.
Thank you. I don't know how this became my life, but D-Rock just woke me up on a text saying we need a question of the day for the vlog. So, A, fuck me, B, question of the day. What are you trying to be an influencer for? Or what are you trying to accomplish with the attention that you're trying to amount for yourself or your business? Answer me that.
I need to break out. Whatever